corner when I'm not presenting.
Listening in.
And listen in.
Hey everybody, welcome to Bash University Live here on Tuesday night.
Take a quick break, watch John Cruz's on the Tokyo rig.
Be a part of the show, get some chances to win some awesome prizes.
Just Bash You Go. You know, we didn't have that back then, and dude, it could just...
That text thread gives me so much energy. I mean, like I'm dialed.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Bash University Live. We're just so excited tonight. We've got a great show, as usual, in store tonight with an amazing guest. Man, one of the best, if not the best, smallmouth anglers on the planet right now. And he's going to be with us tonight talking about all the techniques and tools he uses to catch them. It's Scott Dobson. He has won 3 Toyota Series events on smallmouth and a bunch of BFLs and tons of other tournaments. Lake St. Clair specialist, a Great Lakes specialist with wins there, Detroit River, Thousand Islands, Erie, all those types of places. And he's going to be with us tonight. Can't wait to have him. A friend of mine, we've traveled together for a few years, known each other a really long time. And he thinks and attacks smallmouth differently than a lot of people do. And I really like his style, and I'm looking forward to picking his brain, especially because I'm going to be up at Thousand Islands fishing the Bassmaster Open in a couple weeks. So I'm looking forward to speaking to him about that. So get your questions ready. You want to talk smallmouth, clear water tactics, spy baits, jerk baits, tubes, anything you want to talk about smallmouth, he's going to be with us here in just a little while. So our buddy Scott Dobson is coming, and I'm glad to be here. We all been super busy running around. It's great to be back at Bash U Live. I'm in my my home studio tonight, but I can see the boys in studio. Riz and BTC, how are you guys doing?
I'm a man, Peter. I got a beard and gray hair.
You've been getting your work done, man. You've got a big smallmouth tournament coming up, man. You're going to be able to get all your work done so you can go?
I'm going to get, I think I'm going to get that done. I don't know if I'm going to be prepared to go. Mike's going to pick me up, and I'll just be like, dude, I'll just use your rod, you know?
Just take one rod. It's probably all you need. Just take a drop shot or something.
Black Senko.
Yeah.
That may be all you need. That's all I'm tying on. You know?
I mean, that's all you've had tied on pretty mumuch for what, the last 2 months, right? And you've cashed a check in every single event.
I'm going to try, punching a 3/4 ounce, weighted Senko in 20 feet of crystal clear water with no grass around.
It would probably work.
We'll give that a go.
Trigger that reaction strike, Pete.
Yep, for sure. Hey, how the flats going, Riz? I didn't get a chance to talk to you after you spent some time out there.
Yeah, the flats this weekend, Pete, was it didn't treat me so well. It's definitely still fishing very healthy. The winning bag, which was not mine, unfortunately, was almost 20 pounds, about 19 and a half. Big shout outs to our buddies Connor Cahill, Adam Satinoff, got themselves another win on the flats this year. They're having a great run down there. But all in all, it's still fishing pretty good, Pete. When you get around the fish and they decide to bite, it's a very fun place to be.
Did you ever get around the stripers like we talked about for fun?
Not quite as good as you did as far as the size, but got around some numbers of what you would consider to be schoolies, schoolie size stripers. They were all between 2 and 4, 4 or 5 pounds. Nothing real big, but some fun top order action in there. So it was a fun bite.
What's eating size? What's keeper size?
19 inches.
19 is?
Yeah,
Okay.
19.
Eat any?
Did you?
No keepers, and some of them might have been close, but I was more in the mode just throw back and fire back in there and get another bite.
Rich only eats
Awesome.
catfish.
I definitely eat the stripers too.
Bottom
And
feeders.
well,
Yo, they just had
I
a
did-
snakehead derb out there, Pete. You see that?
I did not see that.
Yeah, Scott Sewell was a big part of. I guess he set the deal up. But I saw they had a snakehead derb. I think they had 30 boats, 15 kayaks, or something along those lines.
No kidding.
70 some snakehead brought in, and at the end of the event, they had a couple guys there cleaning them, and they cooked them all up. Fish fry on the chestnut.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool. Where was that out of?
I don't know. I would imagine, he's a Middle River guy, right? Thereabouts.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think so. So I would imagine.
Interesting. Well, I put the beat down on Bob Soley with a 5-pound catfish, taking first place miscellaneous fish in my tournament on Sunday over a 3-pound snakehead.
Ooh.
There you go. That's a big cat.
Yeah, it was fun. We had fun. We were at the DOD, but we were taking the military out fishing for an event, and what a great cause. I appreciate
Woods and
Bob
Water, I
Nannis.
believe it is.
That's right. And there's it's a great cause, man. There's a high suicide rate amongst veterans, and this whole program is designed to get the boys out fishing.
Yeah.
And
stuff.
it clears their heads, and it gets them, out and on the water, and gives them a focus, and it really helps. And I was happy to participate in it, and it was a great event. My buddy Paul and me, we caught over 100 fish
What?
out of the DOD. We did.
How
We
many of
caught
them were 12 inches or better?
Oh, one.
Sounds about right.
What were you
We,
catching, dude? Bluegill?
Well, we were drop shotting.
With minnows?
And we were drop shotting with night crawlers.
Okay.
It was so awesome. We went out, right. This is a bass fishing tournament, but they give out prizes for biggest panfish.
Yeah.
and
It's sort of a
big-
bass fishing tournament, but yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's and a prize for miscellaneous. So I'm out there. I kind of know what I'm in for in the DOD on the bass side. I know we're kind of in for a grind, and my buddy Paul, my partner, he brought like 4 tubs of night crawlers, and
Nice.
we're and
That's
I'm
a good
like,
partner to draw.
so I start throwing top waters, and nothing's looking at them. It's so hot already. No, you could just feel that. All right, we're in for a major grinder, and I kept watching his cork just go boop, just bobbing around. They just couldn't lay off of it. So we got rid of the cork. We switched up to drop shots, and I was using that Humminbird, the 2D sonar and down imaging. You could just see the lasagna noodles come under the boat. They were using my boat as shade, just like they're going to be doing up at Thousand Island. And these giant schools of bluegill and white perch were under the boat. And 10 feet of water, 15 feet of water, just drop down, just catch them every cat. So we had a ball catching bluegills, perch, crappie. We actually won the biggest panfish with a crappie.
Okay.
So
Nice.
yeah, we had a blast. So
I think Sully took bass honors.
hey, man, did he ever? He they've had 3 events in our area, and Sully has won all 3 events. He won on Union Lake, I think Assunpink was the other one,
Yeah.
Yep.
and here at the DOD. So
You know what's funny, Pete? His partner carried him. Well, caught the bigger fish in both, at least Assunpink and DOD.
it's crazy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's been paired up with a female both times that have neither one has ever been fishing. So of course he put on a Senko and just had them bombing around, and
Yeah.
and they saved them every time.
Yeah. So, would you?
How many bass did he have?
3.
Okay.
Well,
Three,
blowout.
which-
It's like a soccer game. That's what fishing is in South Jersey. It's soccer.
Dude, what's interesting about this lake is the bait fish is just exceptional. Like the amount of healthy bluegill and white perch, yellow perch, and all that stuff. And I'm like, wow, I can't believe there's not some 5 to 7 pound bass out there that have starting to get healthy on these fish.
There's some big ones.
They just live very deep.
Yeah, and they're not falling for your nonsense.
Yeah, I dropped earthworms on them. They weren't falling for that either.
I dropped earthworms.
Pete's
on-
earthworms.
Dude, I was part of my strategy. I went to the very deep. I found 30 feet of water, man. And I'm like, we're going deep. We're drop shotting in 30 feet of water, but everything coming up bluegill, you know.
Isn't that
A
amazing?
lot of, yeah.
Yeah.
It was cool. It was very, very cool event. They treated us well. They fed us with Mission Barbecue. Shout out to Mission Barbecue who catered the event.
Nice.
Man, what a great thing. They brought out pulled pork and chicken and all the fixings and sweet tea and all that cool stuff. So it was 100 degrees in the shade, but we had fun catching what we caught, and appreciate those guys having me. And I want to invite everybody to go check them out. Brian, what was the name of that group again? I always mess
Woods
up.
and Water.
Woods and Water. Woods and Water. Guys, they need boats. They need boats for their next events. If you want to come and help out the military guys and gals, get yourself signed up, participate in the next event. I don't know if there's another one this year or not, but what a great cause. And I had a blast and appreciate them having me there. So go check it out. But guys, if you're just tuning in, Scott Dobson's going to be with us tonight. We're going to be talking smallmouth. I've got a Bassmaster Open coming up. Ike and BTC are going to be taking on the Toyota Series out of Messina on the St. Lawrence River. So it's perfect time to be talking about it. Scott just came off a massive 4th place finish at the FLW Tackle Warehouse tournament. Came real close to winning that one, and be interesting to hear his story and how that all went down. So he's going to be with us here shortly. But Riz, we got a ton of stuff going on tonight, just like always. What are we giving away?
Yeah, that's right, Pete. As always, for questions, we're going to be giving some stuff out. We actually have 4 things going out the door tonight for our question askers. There's going to be 2 Gills gift cards that are going to go out for people whose questions we bring into the show. And then also we're going to give out 2 $25 TH Marine gift cards as well, guys. So it really pays to be a Bass U subscriber. If you're not signed up, now's a great time to get involved. Get over there. Try us out for a free trial, man. Just use code BULive30 during tonight's broadcast, and you'll get 30 days free, unlimited access to over 900 videos, all with one goal in mind, to help you catch more big bass. We also have a grand prize tonight. That's $100 worth of tackle from all of our awesome sponsors at the Bass University, like Rapala, Missile Baits, Flambeau, and TH Marine. And then also tonight for our folks over there on Facebook, we got a Facebook like and share going on as well. That's $50 worth of tackle from our awesome sponsors. So if you're watching on Facebook, guys, just like tonight's feed, share the feed, and you'll be entered in for a chance to win some awesome prizes. But guys, if you're not signed up yet, now's a great time. If you're serious about your bass fishing and you have not checked us out yet, you're selling yourself short. So check it out, www.bassu.tv. Take your fishing to the next level with us. We want you to be involved in the program.
That's right.
Absolutely.
And the discounts, my goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Come on.
And we've got Mega Live with Lee Livesey is going to be released very soon. It's in an editing suite right now, and Humminbird out with their forward-facing sonar. Mega Live, can't believe it. We had a blast. Riz and I were out filming with Lee and it was just incredible watching him shoot the bridge pilings and the weed edges, and just seeing the bait and the fish hiding behind the habitat. It was crazy good stuff. So look for that coming real soon. Anyone who runs a tight ship knows that a covered boat is a clean boat. Months of facing the elements during the season can leave your boat looking worse for the wear. That's why EmpireCovers.com is here to help you protect all your vehicles against Mother Nature. Whether you need a secure cover for trailering your boat, a waterproof cover when you're mooring your boat, or a bimini top for some shade on the water, EmpireCovers.com offers high quality, affordable cover options that are engineered to protect. They offer covers for your other vehicles as well, cars, trucks, RVs, jet skis, and more. Everything you got that you keep outside, they got it covered. Every cover comes with a free multi-year warranty to guarantee that it remains durable over time. With over 100,000 customer reviews, you can trust that Empire delivers quality products and customer service. Listeners, our guys can receive free shipping plus 60% off the original price of their cover order. Visit empirecovers.com/BashU or use promo code BASS60 at checkout. empirecovers.com. Protect what you love. Guys, I've seen you. I've driven down the road to the launch ramp. I see boats partially covered, not covered, campers. You got something that you keep outside. I know you're looking at it like, man, I need to get a cover for that. Now is the time. It's an amazing deal. 60% off the original price plus free shipping. empirecovers.com. Guys, check it out. Do we have anything? You talk about our like and share Riz tonight?
Yeah. So and also Pete, guys.
Pete.
Yeah. Also Pete. Anybody who likes and shares tonight feed, you're also entered in for a chance to win an Empire cover. So guys, even more the reason, like and share tonight's Bash U feed, and you could be winning yourself a $300 Empire cover. It's a great deal. Like
and the guys on YouTube, entertain me, dude, and I'm going to throw some of you guys in the mix. Bring it. Let's hit a commercial, Pete.
Let's hit a commercial. We'll be right back with Scott Dobson talking smallmouth right after this.
Right here, right now. Performance-driven gear so you can fish longer, harder. Gill's Performance Fishing.
2021 Red Crest champion Dustin Connell here, and if you watch live coverage, we just got done at Lake Eufaula. I caught my fish using the active target with Lowrance. What you didn't see is I run a Sea Clear power harness in my boat. One of the main advantages to running this harness is it does not drain my batteries down at all running my 4 units. And what that's going to allow me to do is I'm able to see my bait at 8 a.m. just as good late in the day. Y'all check them out at seaclearpower.com.
You take pride in your boat, so it deserves the best protection possible. Our durable woven fabric prevents ripping and provides UV protection, and our tape seams provide protection against the elements. The heavy-duty shock cord hem and strap and buckle system provide a tight and secure fit. Our top-of-the-line boat covers come with a ventilation system to keep your boat free from mold buildup. Empire Covers, protecting what you love.
AquaView, the leader in underwater viewing technology.
Yep.
And I get back and
we're back, Pete.
Sip of
Well, welcome back to Bash University Live. And we were just talking about IPA, Scott.
Well, this one is called Bimber Ipa. I picked it up here in Beckley, West Virginia.
Ooh.
And I wanted to drink a beer before the show, and I took a sip of it. I'm like, this tastes like water. And I looked down at the bottom. It says 3.8%. I must have just drank bottled water, so it's a dud. Probably the worst beer I ever had.
Shit, I need a beer. Hold on.
Tell it like it is.
Yeah,
I'd be better off with a Busch Light.
Yeah, at least you'll be well hydrated for the show.
Yes,
Scott.
exactly.
That's good. Guys, here with us, here he is our boy Scott Dobson. He's won 3 Toyota series, a smallmouth specialist friend of mine. 2 of them? I saw
2 Toyotas.
What was the third multi-day ML Major League Fishing tournament you won?
None yet. I came in second, had a second, a third, and 2 W's on the Toyota. And then I won Angler of the Year on the Toyota a couple of years ago. And I can't get past a 4th place finish on the tour.
Well, that's 4th is amazing. You just come off a 4th place finish. I was looking at your 2-day win on Lake St. Clair at the BFL level. You must have won the super tournament there.
I think I won 2 of those. Maybe.
Well, you've won a ton. What'd you want? 6 BFLs on the
Yeah.
St. Clair and Detroit River?
Yeah. Yeah,
Amazing.
it was crazy. You know, I never thought I could win a BFL because the competition's so stout on the Great Lakes. And you got the Ohio boys, you got the Michigan boys and the Indiana boys, and it just would never happen. And then it just happened. And then it happened, and then it happened again, and then it happened again. And then I won one in the spring and I won one in the fall. And I'm like, and that's a big deal. I mean, any win's a big deal. I don't care if you're fishing a jackpot tournament on your local lake to right up to the national level. But yeah, once you win, you're like, oh, that wasn't so bad. I did everything right, or I did everything wrong, and I still won. But to win on the BFL levels is amazing against your peers and the people that you grew up fishing against. And then to win on the Toyota level was satisfying, greatly satisfying. And then to do it again in Trenton, Michigan, on the Detroit River, where I actually grew up last year, was incredible. I mean, it was just a whirlwind of emotions to win. And the town I grew up in as a child, and where I used to catch smallmouth and largemouth bass off the bank, not on a boat.
Wow.
I'm talking like
Wow.
driving around on my bike or on my moped. And that was cool. That was a really cool event.
Man, that must have been super cool. Is Trent, where is that? Is that down by the mouth of Erie?
Yeah, so Trenton is where the Detroit River dumps into Lake Erie.
Okay.
So yeah, so it's current. You got the lake, you got the mouth of the river, and you got the river itself. Super dynamic fishery, loaded with smallmouth, loaded with largemouth. I mean, the whole system is all the way up through St. Clair and St. Clair River and out into the Bass Island. So that's where I grew up. That's where I cut my teeth. And I love fishing rivers. I love fishing smallmouth. I love everything smallmouth.
Is that called Trent or Trenton?
Trenton, Trenton. Yeah,
oh, okay.
Trenton, Michigan.
Not
to be confused with Trenton, New Jersey. Trenton, New Jersey.
We have a Trenton, New Jersey, and it's also near a river, but it's actually, instead of where the rivers dump together, it's just where people usually dump their trash.
Yeah.
So
that's
our Trenton.
Yeah, the river is the dump.
Yeah, this river is a little cleaner. So the Detroit River is an amazing fishery. Obviously, Lake St. Clair is. With the goby, the perch population, we got alewife, we got shad, we got crayfish, everything. So it's a super incredible fishery, right down to the end of the St. Lawrence River.
Right, where you have one as well. And you know, I want to ask you this because it's interesting to me, and I don't know if you put it together yet, because you started winning, and you said, you know, then the wins started piling up. You're fishing against guys that, man, they spend their whole lives out there and they're dialed in. They have been winning there for a long, long time. And it's so hard to best them. It's got to be so difficult to outperform them. How were you able to separate yourself and get those wins?
You know, I really, honestly, I don't know. And I'm just humbled to be on the show. First of all, like, it's an honor to be on your show. You know, Pete, we go way back, but I never really consider myself a good fisherman because we're always our own worst critic, right? You know, so we always want to do better. We always want to develop a pattern better, or technique, or whatever it is. But, you know, I still get my teeth kicked in on smallmouth fisheries, and I get my butt kicked on largemouth tournaments. And I have success in largemouth, but I do like fishing for smallmouth. And I don't know if I can explain it. We can talk about different things, but I fish fast, super fast. I fish really fast, and I try not to pay attention to like little nuances or details in practice. And I think I tried to put that together in the tournament, especially now, like on the tour with 2 days of practice, you can't spend a lot of time doing something. But over the years and looking at how I fish in smallmouth events, I'm like a run and gun kind of guy. And that doesn't mean that I'm not on a pattern. I don't develop a pattern during the day, but I want to figure out what the pattern is by finding active fish on whatever they're on that day. And 90% of my fish probably come in 15 feet or shallow. Me personally, I like to be able to see the bottom. I want to see something out there. I want to, whether it's rock, a little bit of cabbage, maybe some clean spots, maybe a little edge, maybe a current seam, a little swirl in the water, a little upwelling in the river, anything like that, any kind of nuance that's maybe a little bit different, then there could be, 15, 20 fish in a spot the size of a queen mattress. And that's what I look for. So I look for anything, and it can be anything, but typically in rivers and the Great Lakes, it's something to do with a little bit of rock, a little bit of cabbage, a little bit of clean bottom, and a little bit of current. And current's everywhere in the Great Lakes. So, it's from the rivers to, even in where you think you have slack water in the river, you got current. Might be a back current. There's, it might be a subtle current. And in the middle of Lake Erie, there's current. In the middle of Lake St. Clair, there's current. In the middle of Lake Ontario, there's current. So there's current everywhere, and those fish relate to that current. And it dictates how they're going to feed, when they're going to feed, and if they're good or not. And I still got a ton to learn, and we're always learning every day as anglers. And smallmouth, they're curious by nature. So I like to throw fast-moving baits, and I like to get a rise out of a fish. I don't need to catch them in practice, but I'm fishing fast-moving baits. I would consider a jerk bait my fastest moving bait that I throw, a crankbait, and then it goes down to swim bait, spinner bait, etc. And then once I find fish, then I'll worry about catching them later in the tournament. But I used to just come ramming into an area, just pick up my jerk bait, and I catch fish, but I learned that, well, it's not always best to come in and just start ramming the jerk bait down there, because some days they eat it, they choke it, they cigar it, and you got them, and you could drag them all the way back to the weigh-in. Some days, just like when I got back from St. Lawrence, they were choking it day 1 and day 2. Day 3, they were bumping it, pushing it, slapping it, getting 2 or 3 cranks on it. So I learned to come in and throw a swim bait, throw a Ned, throw a dropper, maybe a fluke, something where I know that I'm going to have a higher percentage to land them. And then if that's not happened, I pick up the jerk bait. And if it slacks out, or if it gets tough or funky, I'll pick up the spy bait. So I just try to do a lot of different things. If it's windy and rough and blowing, and a spinner bait is always a great thing to throw if you're in 12 feet of water or less. And I just do as many things as I can to figure out what's going on that day, because you can always catch them on a drop shot, but they don't always eat a drop shot, and you can't cover a lot of water throwing a drop shot. So I'm kind of like a bull in a china shop when it comes to smallmouth fishing. Usually when I run up on a hole, I blast over it with my boat, and my team partner, Kyle Green, yells at me. He's like, "You ran over the spot." I'm like, "Oh, they'll still be there. You just turn around."
I love that style, man. And I love that concept, because I feel the same way about smallmouth. And is like, people ask me your pairings the night before the tournament, like, what are you catching them on? Well, I have no idea.
I don't know.
It's like, I'm going to have 10 rods rigged, ready to go. And, in the morning, we may catch them this way. In the afternoon, when the wind changes, we're going to have to switch again. You never really know how you're going to catch them till they say.
You don't. Yeah, exactly. And you never know what's going to happen during the day. I mean, it could be blowing and they're snapping, and middle of the day, the front blows through and it just goes dud on you. And everything you're doing prior to that goes to hell in a handbasket. And you're like, well, I can't get a bite. What am I going to do? And, then you got to soak a tube on the bottom and dead stick it, or a Ned rig, and you got to do little weird things to get bites. So there's all kinds of stuff that you can do. I mean, right down from cracking a tube and, but you can always get typically get some kind of a reaction out of a smallmouth with the rip bait. That's just in my experience. So clear water for me, and we're talking clear water, and we're talking smallmouth, obviously, and it's, the Champlains and the Great Lakes stuff is where most of my experiences. And I had a really good tournament down on Tellico spawn deal, and I located, fish down there on a jerk bait, and I found out that they were all spawning, and I went from like 160th place on day 1 to almost make a top 10 with a 20-some pound bag on day 2. So weird things like that happen with smallmouth. They're curious by nature, and they always want to look at a bait. They may not always eat it, and then you just got to figure out how to get them to bite. So talking about practice and covering water, I just try to cover as much water as I can. And I do the same thing in the middle of Lake St. Clair. It might be with a double deep jerk bait. It wrecks your arm, it kills you ripping that bait in over 18, 19 feet of water. But, crankbaits, always effective. You know, the A-rig, super effective. And we can go on and on and on. But I guess, you know, what do you want to know? We can talk about a lot of different things and
well,
or a couple things.
There's so you've touched on so much that I want to dive in. We're Bass U, so we dive into the details, the X's and O's. But the one thing that is that you taught me, and it was eye-opening for me. We bumped into each other practicing for, I guess, one of the FLWs. We were on St. Clair out in front of the miles, I think is where it was. And, you know, we were talking about current, and you started, and it was calm. It was like slick as glass at that moment, which it never is, right? And we were able to get right next to each other. And you were talking about current. I'm like, well, what do you mean? And you started pointing at the horizon and showing me current seams. And I couldn't believe it. I'm like, oh my God. It was like, oof. My mind was blown. I'm like, I get it. I get it now. It's not just mindlessly drifting out here in 25 square miles of grass flats. There's actually seams and eddies that occur out in the middle of the lake. And that was amazing.
Yeah. And like on St. Clair, you see that a lot. And you don't see it every day. It's got to be the right day. It's got to be relatively calm, you know, or a moderate to light breeze. Sometimes when the wind blows out of the south, slight, you'll be able to see that, and you'll see these big long current seams just running through the lake, and they run from, you know, north to south. I mean, St. Clair doesn't line up exactly north to south, but it pretty much does. And what that is, you know, Lake St. Clair is flat and barren as a rule, but it has little subtle depth changes, and a lot of times where that current, and it changes every year. So like I got 3,000 waypoints on Lake St. Clair, and maybe 50 of them are good, you know, but they change every year. So what we find is we get these little clusters of waypoints, catch fish, good one, market. And then what you notice is they kind of like follow a pattern. They follow a line, and that's typically like a current rip. And it's not that the current is ripping through there, but it might be where there's like a little subtle micro break, like 4 or 5 inches. You know, you don't get vast depth changes on Lake St. Clair where you go, oh, it's 17, oh, it drops down to 20. It's like 17 and a half.
Right.
Stuff like that. And that little break might run a mile or two, and it might have like a little divot in it, or like a little swing in, or a little bump out, and stuff that you really can't graph with side scan. And it's just more of like, and if you could see that little subtle current seam out in the water, you kind of use them, you run them, you cast across them, you know, A-rigs and swim baits, you know, anything that you can cover a little bit of water. And obviously now, I mean, not to get carried away, but if you don't have forward-facing sonar, I mean, I use Active Target by Lowrance, and that just takes all the guesswork out of it. You almost don't even have to cast out there. And so now you can just put the trolling motor on like 4 or 5 or 6, you know, whatever your comfort level is. Now if it gets a little bouncy and it gets a little rough, it gets challenging because you're, you know, bouncing in and out of the water. But just kind of like trolling motor around and just panning back and forth with your Active Target. And just, I put it out at 100 feet, and it's always on forward. I don't use the scout mode. I use it when I'm shallow, but I use forward, put it at 100, and I'm just kind of ripping around looking at that. Now I will bomb around and randomly cast and still try to catch fish, but I want to see them. And I want to see that little, I call it a soldier. I see a little plastic soldier out there, just kind of like a little hash, you know, and that's a bass. And 90% of the time it's a bass. Could be a drum, but you get it within 10 feet of them and they just eat it.
That's smallmouth for you.
As simple as that. Yeah. I mean, if you see it and you get it close within like 10 feet, they're going to eat it. Like, wow, 90% of the time. You might have to cast to them 3 or 4 times. Some of them get a little moody, you know, and now everyone's doing it. So it's getting a little tougher, you know, so to the point where sometimes I'll turn it off.
Just to be able to get closer to the fish, or
because it pings. I don't know. It's a noise. Yeah. It's, you know, it's no different than turning off your sonar when you're pinging going in anywhere, you know. So if you don't need it, if they're, you know, if it seems like they're running from it, well, why do you want the fish to run away from you? I'd rather have them run into my live well. So if I know they're there, you know, but if they're biting and I'm casting the fish and they're eating, I'm going to keep it on. But you can turn it off just to see if it, you know, does anything. But currents, everything in smallmouth. It's everything out in the lake and Lake St. Clair. They like to be around a little bit of cabbage. Doesn't need to be a lot. Little sprigs are good. They like to be around sandgrass that bumps up to sand. And, you know, I imagine like a smallmouth in 19, 17, 18, 19 feet of water in the middle of the lake. And I can't see them, so it pisses me off. I can't see them, but I can see them now on my active target. But you can't really see exactly what they're sitting on. But I imagine the smallmouth sitting out there on sandgrass. It's green, it's short, you know, little short grass. I see them looking out on the sand spot and they see a crayfish out there or a perch and they run out and they eat it. So I throw my tube out there, I throw my drop shot out there, throw my jerk bait across that, I throw my spy bait across that. And that's how I fish deep on Lake St. Clair. I look for those current seams, and it ends up being a little subtle break where the current passes around, and a little bit of cabbage. Definitely want some clean spots and sandgrass. And
can you describe
anywhere?
Can you describe for somebody that's going to go try to find a current seam, what visually does that look like when it's slick, calm out? What does a current seam look like?
This looks like it'll be a little bit of ripple on the water, and then there'll be like a flat spot, and it might be 2 or 3 miles long, and then you'll see another one like 200 yards over from it or 400 yards over, and you just see them everywhere. And like I imagine, like, you know, Lake St. Clair, all the delta come out, and then they all pour out into the lake, you know, and it's just like a big, you know, big apple, right? And the current just flows. That current washes through that lake like a toilet. It flushes every 3 days. I don't care what's going on. So, you know, there's always water moving there. So it's and those fish can be anywhere in that lake, and they usually always are.
Well, current is key. You've said it. It's a massive, important part of smallmouth. We talked about it on the islands out at Lake Erie, and of course at Thousand Islands, current is everything.
Yeah. So stop right there real quick. So this was a gazillion years ago when we used to just mindlessly drag. Before we had, you know, anchor modes on our trolling motors and whatnot, you know, dragging was king, and you'd throw a buoy on the sweet spot and you would drift across it, right?
Yeah.
Well, oddly enough, like the wind would be blowing this way, but your marker buoy's laying the other way. We're like, well, that's weird. Why is the marker buoy going the other way? Well, duh. I mean, there's current out there. I mean, I don't care if you're out at the middle of Pelee or out at Point Pelee or anywhere out there, there's current going across there. And then obviously with the long shaft trolling motors and the high thrust trolling motors and, you know, lithium batteries, now we hunker down and we hold on the spot all day. You couldn't do that. You couldn't do that before. So, and that's important in a river. Now going, you know, from the lake with current to a river with a lot of current, and being able to hold and strong current and hold, that's key with smallmouth. And that, you know, everyone, the fish are getting bigger, sure, with the gobies, but we as anglers are getting more proficient and we're getting better. And just like, you know, you and I and everyone else, we got to be adapting and evolving, and you got to stay up with the latest, you know, techniques and products that are out there available, or you're going to get left in the dust. And, you know, sometimes I can't always catch them deep. If I can't catch them deep, like 2 days of practice on the St. Lawrence River, why am I going to go try to catch them deep? Spend 2 days trying to drift around with a drop shot accent. No, I'm going to go up shallow. I'm going to get in my comfort zone and I'll find fish. And I had 1, 2, 3 areas. I was stopping Morristown. I was hitting up around, I don't know, I guess that's Chippewa up there by the castle. And then I was flying up to Cape Vincent. And I learned that, you know, they bit here in the morning, but they bit better up here in the afternoon. But up here, there's just bigger fish, but I had bigger ones down there. So you try to hit it on your way up and then, you know, hunker down in an area, your best potential area where you got multiple areas, multiple spots that you can hit, and then still try to keep your other stuff downriver honest, because you want to touch it on your way back too. And, you know, fishing shallow, you can run into an area and you can, you know, ram through there in 5 minutes, and you either see them or you catch them or you see them. You know, they're not biting, flipping a drop shot, you know, the cat and mouse game, get them to come up on the rip bait, throwing the dropper or throwing the net or throwing the tube. and that's just what I do. I fish fast and furious, but I'll pay attention and I'll figure stuff out as it goes throughout the day and just try to figure out what they want,
Yeah, well, you just did that. You just come from an FLW, you got 4th place and made that the tackle.
We call it MLF. We call it MLF now. Major League Fishing.
MLFLW.
MLFLW, yeah. So, yeah, the Tackle Wireless Pro Circuit was on the St. Lawrence River, and I had a bad year. I wasn't having a great year, and I can't say, I don't know why, but I just never got in a groove. And I bombed on the Potomac. And the last time I was on the Potomac, I just almost made the top 10. And I went there. I mean, I caught limits every day, but I just did bad. And I was all dejected. And I'm like, well, I can set my sights on, a top 4 finish on the St. Lawrence. And it happened. And by that, coming in the top 4 in the Tackle Wireless Pro Circuit, they take the top 4 non-BBT guys, and we get to advance to the next Bass Pro Tour event, which just happens to be on Lake St. Clair.
How about that?
In September.
That's gotta be huge. Well, that's obviously huge. Everybody now is like hoping you finished 5th place at the Tackle Warehouse Tour, but you didn't. Finish 4th. Yeah. You got in, and now you have the target on your back at this event.
I know. Yeah, and oddly enough, I was leaving the next morning. The first phone call I got was Jacob Wheeler. He's like, dude, I got to fish against you now. So I had to laugh. So
that's so awesome, man.
Yeah. So that guy's on.
What was the next question he asked you?
What do you think it's going to take? I'm like, a lot. A lot. It's going to take a lot of weight. I don't know if it's going to break the earlier tournament in June on the St. Lawrence when they were all spawning, but it's going to be a high weight tournament, and there's going to be some giant fish caught, and there's going to be a lot of fish caught, and there's going to be largemouth caught up the wazoo and smallmouth.
Wow. Well, how about this? This is new for you, right? This is a new format where you're not going to be weighing just 5. You're going to be going for numbers. Are you going to change the way you think, Claire?
Yeah. So I'm going to change. I'm going to, keep everything honest, and I'm going to try to hit some high percentage areas where I think there's the biggest population of fish, they're the most aggressive, and that they get over that 2-pound threshold. I don't want to go and catch 2-pounders where one might not non-scoreable and the next one might be scoreable. I want to be more in that 2.5 to 3.5 pound class. So that's what I'm looking at. And, for me, like, it's different because I did fish this format last year on Sturgeon Bay, where it was a catch, weigh, release for the title championship. So now going into this event and looking at my 5 best, sometimes I only catch 7-8 fish a day, even on St. Clair.
Mm-hmm.
And some days they bite a little bit better, and some days you land 5 or 6 or 7. So I'm not going to change how I fish. I'm just going to change where I fish and what I'm doing. So, I might flip a jig around a little bit too.
Ooh, largemouth.
Yeah, toss a frog. I mean, sure. I mean, it's a great largemouth population on the Great Lakes and the St. Clair and the Detroit River, Lake Erie. Obviously, there's a ton of smallmouth. Fish are moving in September, and they're going to be places, and they're going to be loaded in places, and they're not going to be in other places. They're going to be leaving places. So it's going to be a great event, and I think it's going to probably, I would say that some days could set records, and whatever that record may be, maybe the biggest, highest average weight per fish. I don't know if there's going to be 180 pounds or 200 pounds caught, but that's a lot of winding. I mean, you got to do a lot of catching to catch over 200, and we've had days on St. Clair. Me and my buddy, we boated 264 bass in a day. And that was a short day in November, but we've had 100 fish days, but it's
how
not.
do you keep, Scott, how do you keep track, man? You got a clicker? Or?
One of those clicker clackers.
Oh, you do?
And you still don't even, you miss some even doing that.
Oh,
but
yeah.
If it hits the gunnel, it counts, If it comes off in the air, it counts. If it comes up, like close to the boat, it counts, but.
Just doing pro releases where you don't want to have to deal with the treble hooks. You just kind of come off at the side of the boat if you want.
Yeah, like the treble hook I put in my thumb on day 3 of the Tackle Wireless Pro Circuit on the St. Lawrence, where I flipped a little 12-incher on a jerkbait. I went to grab him, and he flipped, and the hook went right into my thumb, right down to the bone.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Smallmouth are great for that.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah. And I oddly, I don't do that often. Like you'd think I rip baits, and I don't hook myself that often, but it happened that day and it hurt. And I didn't have any braid. So the camera guy was there, and then he came over, and he was a muskie fisherman. The guy was driving the boat, so he had a big piece of braid, and Sean from MLF ripped it out, and I went back to fishing. So
awesome story.
You had no braid in the boat?
Well, I had braid for my spinning rods, but when I go to St. Lawrence, I take all the big sticks out. I mean, I'm not going to go for largemouth or throw a frog. So yeah, I lighten up my boat. I don't want a bunch of clutter in my boat. If I'm going smallmouth, I'm going smallmouth, and my tackle's so like refined on. I can get by with a 1-gallon Ziploc bag of tackle. So I take what I need, and yeah, I'll take some extra stuff, but I don't like a lot of weight if I'm making big runs, and I don't want a bunch of clutter in my boat when it comes to smallmouth. So like I keep it kind of simple, and I'm doing, pretty much my same game. It's jerkbait, spy bait, drop shot, Ned rig, tube, swim bait. I mean, that's it.
That's it. That's a good top 5 or top 6.
You forgot
Riz,
top order.
I know we got a lot of IMs on the board, and I want to let our guys get to Scott and try to give away some stuff here.
Yeah,
what do we got?
For sure, Pete. So the first question I'm going to bring in here is from Philip Campbell. He's going to win himself a $25 Gills Gear gift card for this question. And Philip Campbell wants to know, are there certain times a year, Scott, where you can feel like you're around too much bait to catch the bass? And what do you do in those situations if you feel like there's too much bait in an area to trigger those bass to eat your lure?
Well, wow, that's a tough one. I never had that experience. I take that back. Years ago, like behind the Pickwick Dam and the Wilson Dam, shad up crazy amounts of shad, and you just got to a big spinner bait. You just got to, if the fish are there, they're going to be, obviously our baits imitate wounded bait fish, so they're always looking for something that's out of the ordinary. So maybe change up your color a little bit. Sometimes you don't always have to match the hatch. Like I'll throw a pink fluke or a pink jerkbait, or even a painted pink spinner bait, like on Cumberland and stuff. So sometimes it's not always about matching the hatch with smallmouth. It's throwing something a little bit louder. So, and just stick to them, because the fish are there, the bait's there, the bass are there.
Looking different. That's a great answer. And then we're going to hook them up with some cool prizes. All the guys that we're taking are Bass U subscribers, so we're going to hook you up with some cool stuff. And let's rapid fire, Riz. Let's throw a few more at Scott.
Okay. Chris Curry. The next question is going to come from him. He's going to get a $25 TH Marine gift card for this question. He wants to know what makes a spot a big fish spot as opposed to another area where there may be more small fish.
I want to hear Scott's answer on this one.
So, like, looking at so talking like shallow spots or deep spots and big fish and little fish, the big fish want the prime juice. They want the prime spot. So let's say it's a little subtle point on a flat where the current's rolling over and there's little sprigs of cabbage or like small boulders. He's not going to let little fish occupy that haunt. If there's like a lot of bait that passes across that, or there's a steady stream of, gobies that are crawling around there, or if the perch happen to travel through there, that spot, that little nuance, whatever it is, whether it's rock, cabbage, or a combination of all three, or a little bit of a little rise or a little clean spot next to a break, that fish is there for a reason, because that's where there's a lot of food coming from him, and he doesn't have to travel far or a lot of effort. So he's going to push the little fish out of the way. And like the little fish always seem to get on like secondary stuff to a point. Now, strangely enough, on the St. Lawrence, I have seen areas that I fish where the little fish are there on one day, and I come back and all the King Kongs are there on another day. So, and that has something to do with maybe the current changing or the wind changing the direction. I haven't really figured it out yet, but the big fish are always on the prime juice, whether shallow or deep, structure, whatever they're holding on. and they just push the little fish out of the way, and the big fish usually always bite first. They want to eat first. They're not going to, in my experience.
They're not gonna let those little ones in there. I've seen that.
It's like Pete's not going to let his son come in and grab the fillet when he's going to eat the sirloin, right? They're going to slide him out of the way.
Yeah, that's why Jake's already missing a finger.
That's funny.
Hey, Scott. Cheers, bud. Thanks for coming on. Congratulations on success, and there's a good beer.
Yeah, that is a good beer.
Yeah.
I like the
Very
Mosaic
nice.
Promise better.
What's that?
Founders Mosaic Promise.
Oh, dude, I love that. Purple cans.
Purple can.
Yeah, it's not out yet, so but
Seasonals.
I love Founders. I'm close to Founders. I got Founders in Detroit and Grand Rapids.
What? Nice.
Mhm.
Yeah, there are folks. We like
Hey,
them.
cheers again.
Yeah. Double.
If I could have picked up a Founders in Beckley, West Virginia, at the hotel I'm at, I'd be drinking one, but not yet.
I got your back, bro.
You'll be home soon. You're gonna be home tomorrow, Scott. You
Yeah.
running that way? You got to work a little while before you get to fish again. What are you doing?
So we went off limits on for the BBT on St. Clair. I think it was Monday or last Monday was the last day we could be out there, and all those guys were up at Plattsburgh on Champlain. So I got to bounce around a little bit and it was nice. I got to look around like without anyone else around. There was no other competitors out there, so I was just idling around, looking at stuff, and just jumping up, looking at shallow stuff. I was out looking at deep stuff, and I spent 2.5 days looking where I think the fish are going to be in September. So I was looking for little nuances. So I had an opportunity to breathe and just kind of go out there and just relax and look at stuff. And I wasn't worried about catching, because I knew they weren't going to be there, and they're not there yet. So, and I don't want to get wrapped up in a local tournament on my home body of water just because I'm sleeping in my own bed. Oh, I'm going to do great. And I might not, but I want to be able to think open. I want to think different format. I want to think poundage, not, 4 and 5 pounders. So I want to be able to look around and just kind of think outside of the box, because like you said earlier, sometimes you've gone into lakes yourself where you whooped everyone's behind and the local people. So it's no different than someone else coming in there and like, oh, it was so easy. I just went over here and there was 500 smallmouth there and I caught them every cast. And that still makes a great angler. The BBT format, the catch, weigh, release, is a unique format. It's still a tournament. Someone's going to win, someone's going to lose. You're still catching bass. You still have to figure it out. And it's exciting to me because it's like my title championship without qualifying for the title championship. So all my buddies are up in La Crosse, and I'm sitting in a hotel in West Virginia trying to get home. So when I get home, I'm thinking about going to the St. Lawrence, but I almost think that I should stay home and get all my affairs in order, make sure my boat's dialed in, because it's going to be 2 days of practice and 1, 2, 3, 4 days of competition. So it's going to be nonstop. So it might be a good opportunity to take a breather, maybe go out and fun fish for smallmouth on Saginaw Bay, or go up to Traverse City and look around. And I don't want to not fish. I do want to be out still casting around and keeping some, smallmouth mojo going. I had a little bit at Champlain. St. Lawrence was good. I had a top 10 in the BFL. And so I can't fish anything on St. Clair or Detroit River till September 8th.
Gotcha. Well, you got a lot of great smallmouth water all around you to practice on, like you said, and hopefully you can get that dialed in a little bit. And you brought something with you.
I brought lots of stuff.
Some show and tell. You talk a lot about using a rip bait, a jerk bait, and I know that's probably in your hand most of the time, especially when you're looking.
Yeah.
Show us your best tools.
So I'm not stuck in any one particular brand. I'm affiliated with Duo Realis, so I throw a lot of that. I throw a lot of Megabass, a lot of Lucky Craft. So to me, it's not about it's about action of the rip bait. It's about color, and I like weight transfer systems. I like to be able to bomb it. I want to get it out there. So like this is my hottest color this spring. This is a Duo 100 SP, and it's called AM Edge. I don't know if we can see it there, but it's got a little bit of chartreuse on the belly down there.
Yep. Yeah.
It's got a clear side, a little bit of purple on the side, and it's got a dark top. And now this fish probably caught, I don't know, 300 or 400 bass in like a 4 or 5 day period. Actually, I went through 2 of them. I mean, it just chewed the paint right off of it. So that was a phenomenal bait. And this is a phenomenal color still, even on the Great Lakes. They make it in the deep runner. Great color. That is probably one of my favorite colors in the dual rip bait. And another one that's phenomenal on the Great Lakes is a duo 110. They make it in a bigger bait. That's a clear ghost gill. So it's translucent. So translucent colors for smallmouth when it's sunny is a critical thing for me. So that's one of my little go-to, I guess it would be a little secret. I don't know, it's not much of a secret to me. I think everyone knows that translucent baits for smallmouth are great. And then I throw the 110+1 in Megabass, and it's like a see-through. This is like got a little bit of pink in it, a little bit of pearl. It's got a little bit of chartreuse and purple on the belly. This is a discontinued limited run color, and I won St. Lawrence on that.
Discontinued.
Yeah. Can't get it. So this only comes out on Derby Day.
I'm writing these colors down, and you're giving me a discontinued color, man.
No, you can find it. It's called, like, I don't know, Canadian Reaction or something. It's impossible to find. It's like $200 on eBay.
Hey.
Oh my gosh.
And then this is I think that's called Northern Secret. And it's the same, you'll see a trend in these baits. It's clear, they're see-through. I can see right through that bait. It's got a little bit of green, a little bit of purple, a little bit of chartreuse. See a little purple here on the tail? What does it look like, Pete? If you're throwing this like a
perch. It's got a little perch in it.
What does this look like?
That looks like a perch too.
It looks like a bluegill. And then, when I get around bait and we're looking at shad, or if it's cloudy, raining, overcast, chartreuse shad is money. And chartreuse shad, great, cloudy, rainy, overcast, sunny, any of your ghost minnows, anything translucent when it's sunny. But I've had days where they nail this on sunny days too, and I guess it doesn't matter on those days.
Talk about that, Scott. Take a break. I want to dive in there because cloudy conditions for smallmouth are tricky, especially right when the sun shines, like on Champlain. We go smallmouth fishing because that's when you can access the big ones. They're harder to access in the cloudy conditions. So how does an angler get through a cloudy day when he's fishing for smallmouth?
I throw like a chartreuse shad color, a little bit. It just seems like a little bit more loud in the water, like it just pops a little bit more. Or like a white, like a pearl color, chartreuse shad. Or like on Champlain, it's on those cloudy, rainy days, I'm bombing a spook or a whopper plopper. Like I've caught some bigs on Champlain on a plopper, smallmouth.
Right. Yep.
And like raining rough 2-footers, like just pulling it. I mean, throwing water, you can't lose it in the waves. And the big spook with a big rattle in it. That's what I'm doing. Spinner bait is phenomenal on Champlain when it blows. And then on the bottom, I just did this on Champlain there in July or June. July we were there, and it was torquing. The second day it was windy, it was raining, it was crappy. And it was my best day. It's almost 19 pounds. I had not a great first day, and I missed the top 10. I think came in 15th or 16th or 17th. But it was a chartreuse shad. I was throwing a brown Kitech, green pumpkin, and Carolina rig. So and then the spook. The spook would be good, and then it would die out a little bit, and then it'd get good again, and then it'd die out a little bit. And I caught a couple on a key fish on a darker color. It's like a shad color spy bait that had a little bit of chartreuse on it, but it wasn't super like clear translucent. It looked, for whatever reason, it looked good in the water. So I threw that. It was like, I don't even know what this color is called, but CL base or it's a good color.
It's got a lot of contrast.
Yeah,
this is the 100.
Yeah, I think I have that one.
And then, if it's sunny and, I like this Komochi Wagasaki. It's a really good color. And then
What is a Komochi Wakasaki?
it's this color. That's what it is.
Ah, good answer.
I don't know. That's the answer. I don't, but it's a little translucent, and it's got a little, translucent on the top half, and then it's got a chrome belly almost. So it's a good shad imitator, alewife. Looks good.
Why are
And then,
smallmouth so hard to land on a spy bait?
It's the spy bait. I've lost big
It's
largemouth
not.
too.
It's the angler.
Go ahead.
No, I don't know.
You've lost more than me on it. Tell me about it.
I like throwing the bigger ones. I throw the 100 and the 90, and I throw it on a bait cast setup, and I throw it on a 7.5 foot, like a crankbait rod that I throw like a DT10 on, or DT6.
What
Long
pound
rod,
test?
so it's 10, sometimes 8, but usually 10. So I want a parabolic crankbait rod. I want like a 6:3 to 1 or 7-to-1 gear ratio. I used to throw it on like a 5.5 to 1, but I can't catch up to them. But what I liked with the 5.5 to 1 is it was the retrieve was right. So you don't want your spy bait rising when you're bringing it in. You want to count it down, and you want it to come through the water perfect, horizontal. And you don't want to do anything but reel it. You want it rocking. You want those blades spinning. You want to make sure you don't pick up any grass. And what I do, and Dave, and I know you had him on the show before, is I crack them. I mean, I set the hook just like I would a jerkbait. And everyone's like, oh my God, you've worked that jerkbait, you reef them. So I'm like, well, yeah, I want to bury those hook points, in anything I can get them in. So I crack them as hard as I can.
Wow.
And then I try to keep them underwater. And that's like the main thing. Because
Yeah.
as soon as you hook them, they're out of the water within a half a second. And they're trying to, that bait, they're trying to throw it. I mean, that's all they want to do. To the point where on St. Lawrence, the only place I've seen this is on the St. Lawrence, where the fish, if they can't throw it in the air, they go down and they try to knock it off on the bottom.
No kidding.
I've seen them like rip jerk baits and spy baits across the bottom on the sand. Like how sometimes you see them when they're spawning, they're like doing that thing on the side. Yeah, they're trying to rip it. Yeah, they're trying to rip it out. You'll see it at some point if you're up there enough. That's the only place I've seen them do that.
That's wild.
Is up there, and it's always the big dudes. It's not like a 2.5 pounder, but they're all big up there. So I guess they're all big.
Wow.
So,
Yeah, that's
so
crazy.
Scott, I want to go a little deeper with the spy bait. So you don't throw the 80 as much then? You're throwing the 90 and the 100, and that's mostly because you can throw it on a casting rod.
Yeah, you could throw the 80 G fix on a bait caster, and I would go down to 8-pound test on that. But I typically throw that on a spinning rod, and I throw that on a 7.4, like a medium light, like a lighter action rod. Braid to fluoro, usually 8, but I'll go down to 7 or 6.
You're not straight fluoro.
No. No, I want to hit them. I want to hit them so hard where I don't want the line to break. I want maybe the drag just to slip a little bit, but I want to crack them, because I tried like just reeling into them, and my buddy said, all you got to do is lean into them. I'm like, no, I'm not just going to lean into them. I'm going to crack them.
So it's braid the fluoro with the casting rods as well?
That I go straight fluoro.
Okay.
Just because I'll use it for a crankbait rod too, I guess. So
You're not concerned with the braid keeping the bait high?
No, I put like a 10, 12 foot leader on. And like I said, even in, 17, 18, 19 feet of water, I've never had a problem with it. And, and with the braid, it feels like I can feel stuff more. If I count it down a little too far and it hits the bottom, I want to know that I hit the bottom, and I want to make sure I don't have any sandgrass on there or pick up a little piece of anything, because I'm not going to waste a 3-minute cast and then get it. I'm like, oh crap, I had a little tinge of grass on there. I'm like, oh, that was a waste of 3 minutes.
Right.
Oh.
No, I know. And that's like the toughest thing about the spy baits, because you get no feedback from it. You're not deflecting off of anything. There's no bottom contact. You're not buzzing the surface where you could see it. There's just no feedback, and it's so hard to get.
The feedback is the fish following the bait in. That's the feedback.
Yeah, if you could stay.
The feedback is you'll wind it in, and you're like, I thought I felt something bump me. I'm like, I think, and you wind in, And sometimes they'll come back and they'll smoke it, but you'll see them like, oh, he followed it all the way in. And you're like, oh, well, that's great. Well, that's why I got my little drop shot right here. I'm going to flip right over there and he's going to eat it because he's already fired up. So he followed it in. He's a little bi-curious, and then, you know, throw the net or the drop shot over there and boom. So anytime you're throwing that rip bait or you're throwing the spy bait, have your Ned or your whatever your follow-up bait is going to be. Typically 90% of the time it's going to be a drop shot.
Yeah.
What are your hooks, Scott? What's your spy bait hooks, your jerk bait hooks? Do you alter them? What style hook are you using?
The hooks on the dual spin baits are phenomenal. I mean, they're super icky sticky. I mean, they're great. I don't have a problem with these hooks. Everything else, like the Mega Bass, well, the dual jerk baits, I keep their hook. It's a nano coated hook. It's super sharp. It penetrates good. It's got a nice barb. On my 100s, I go to a Gamakatsu Superline Treble Bronze. You can't get them anymore. They don't manufacture that hook anymore. You can buy them on eBay and you can find them certain places, sell them. That's a phenomenal hook. And they make it in a 4, they make it in a 2, they make it in a 6. And it's a stout hook. It changes the weight of the bait. It might sink a little bit on you, but I don't really care about that in like spring through early fall because I'm not worried about a suspending bait suspending perfectly. I don't care if it sinks a few inches, you know, because that fish is either going to eat it or he's not. And I'm more worried about, I want to jack them hard, and with the big fish, I don't want my hooks flexing to the point where they can bend the hook out and lose them because you know how it is. You're like, oh, I got them here, here, and here, and you're bringing them in. You feel, and you feel like the bait slips like 4 inches. Like, oh shit, something happened there. Like he's either hooked in the side or he's hooked in the front. And sometimes they're hooked backwards, or the bill of the jerk bait is towards the tail, you know, and that's how you lose them because they can move and they can rip that out, and you come back and you straighten out. So, and I'll throw Magic Eye Gamakatsus a lot, the short shank Magic Eye and 4s and 6s, and I throw a lot of the Aaron Martin's the TWG, which is their stouter hook. It's sticky, and I sometimes if they're like kind of nipping at it, I feel like that penetrates a little bit better because the barb isn't as big and as pronounced. But it just, you know, I'm still trying to perfect that. I don't have the perfect answer, but I like gummies.
Scott,
no EWG, real quick, BTC.
Go ahead.
You're a round bend guy?
No, huh?
You're a round bend guy, not an EWG.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Round bend. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. So I did have one bait on there. A buddy gave me this bait, but it had EWGs. So I'm like, why does it have EWGs in there? I don't like those things. So I played around a little bit with this owner hook my buddy gave me, and it's like their STX something, and that's when that hooked me in the thumb. So it went in pretty quick, but I didn't have any problem with that. It's a modified EWG, but it's more of a round bed. I don't know. The Superline Treble by Gamakatsu, I've had hundreds and hundreds of those hooks, and I've won a lot of money on that hook, and I like it. Hard to find though. If you can find any, send them to me.
Scott,
what do you got, BTC?
Do you mess with the split rings at all? Do you do the braid split rings with that spy bait?
No, you know, people talk about that with the Silver Buddy, which is probably my other, like my early spring winter technique. I love blade bait fishing, and
right on.
I've never messed around with that because usually in that time of the year, I'm not worried about a tournament situation. So, but I always put a split ring on my blade bait, but I have not done the braid deal on either of them. And conceptually, it makes a lot of sense, but I have not messed with it. Have you? Has anyone else?
No, but I hear people talk about it, so I talk about it.
Yep.
You know, just fronting like everybody else out here.
Zona fighter. We've had guys come on the show and demonstrate it for us, and how it's completely changed their strike to catch ratio on even crankbaits. You know, they go through and completely replace everything with that.
Pete, if you remember correctly, Zona was actually really, really mad at Seth for giving it up on Bass U.
If you don't give up stuff, you never learn anything, you know?
Yeah.
You know, like It's like, like a lot of times we don't get to go out and fish with other guys where you can learn stuff, but because we're too busy doing our own thing in our own tournaments and practicing where you don't get to learn stuff from other people. So, you guys having the show and having people on gets that out there. And guys, no one's afraid to give up stuff. You still got to go out and catch them. You still got to go out and apply it.
I'm pretty sure that's what led to Seth having to get his hair cut on Mark's show. If you guys remember, he got that buzz cut. It was payback.
It was a great tip. I mean, conceptually, like you said, Scott, it makes a lot of sense, man. You're eliminating. I've seen guys use double split rings to help with strike to catch and allow more rotation of the treble hook. And the braided deal is that's pretty unique. I'm waiting for the company to come out of that straight out of the package.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, that would be nice, but like, is it going to degrade over time? I mean, I don't know. To me, not yet. Maybe I'll play around with it. I don't have time to do it between now and the Bass Pro Tour event. So I rely on the hooks, and I want to make sure I have good split rings. You got to keep an eye on that stuff all the time, because smallmouth and split rings, they have a tendency to almost work them off a bait. So open them up a little bit, and and I throw a lot of snaps on my rip baits and my crankbaits.
No kidding. You're a snap guy.
I'm a snap guy. I've always been a snap guy. And
so is Pete.
Dave Rowe, I don't know, Dave Rowe got me on that. He's like the smallmouth godfather in Michigan. And I don't know, I got a snap on one of these baits, but I think it gives it a bit more action. And I change colors a ton, always changing colors. I'm like, why didn't that fish eat it? I'm like, maybe it didn't like the color. So I'll throw on another color. And like at Champlain, especially, like they're so particular there. It's so annoying. It's like so frustrating. I'm like, why isn't he eat? So I'm like, change the color. And then boom, you get it. And you're like, okay, that's what they want today. Some days they want a white, some days they want something with a little purple, some days they want a loud, some, shiny loud or white. And some days they want it subtle. And, so.
And the weather will change 6 times every day at Champlain.
Yeah.
So I feel like you got to constantly adjust with changing light conditions and
what snap are you using? I mean, I'm a snap guy for the same
I think
exact reason. It makes
the
you more
Sampo 52, number 52 or whatever. I don't know. I just look for the size. I'm like, if you ask me what size net head I throw, I couldn't tell you. I'm like, I don't know. It's the one that looks right. I'm like, the size is it's just the right size. I think it's a 52 or a 50 number 52 or everyone names them differently or numbers them differently, but
yeah, I never had a problem with them opening. That's the biggest argument I get, because I use them all the time, is having a snap open up.
I had one open to me on the St. Lawrence a couple of years ago. I mean, I had a giant on.
Oh,
and it was on a special to my heart jerkbait. And I'm like, he jumps, and I'm like, I just broke. How did I break off? And I reeled it in, and it just stopped. I'm like, and so the fish is jumping, trying to throw the jerkbait. I'm on the trolling motor with the net, trying to get up to the fish to try to catch him. He jumps. I was like 2 feet away from netting him, and the bait flies. And I'm like, should I try to net the fish, try to net my jerkbait? And I went for the jerkbait. So the jerkbait's falling down. I could see it falling down the water. I'm trying to scoop it up, and I missed it. And that was the only color I had. I was out, like done. And I got so like dejected because it was sunny and they wanted that color today. And the snap opened up. So it could have been me. I don't know how it opened, but it opened. And it was a bad day.
Same thing happened to my phone on the St. Lawrence. But it wasn't.
It opened up and went.
Yeah, it just right to the bottom.
You're going to the St. Lawrence with Ike this week, BTC. You're going to be fishing as a co-angler.
That is correct. So, Scott, I have several questions for you.
Okay, hit me.
All right.
Speed round.
I'm fishing the St. Lawrence, the Toyota Series next week as a co. Help me out with, what is the guys that have been successful behind you? What are the things that they're doing? What are some things techniques that maybe work better?
Throw a mag draft.
Yeah, throwing mag drafts out there in the grass, just bombing them.
I would,
Hail Mary,
Senko, weightless,
all right,
fluke.
come on, man.
jerk bait. What? You don't think they eat that thing there?
Oh,
Wait,
kill me.
come on. Who's going there? You're going there? Who's going there?
I'm going up with
Anyone?
Ike, and we're going to practice, and then I'm going to fish it as a co. And
I would be throwing I'd be throwing a jerk. Well, it depends on what he's doing. If he's dragging.
so I get so
If
day
he's
one.
dragging in the river. The cool thing about being a co and they're dragging in the river, you're going to get your bait to them before they are.
Okay. All right. Let's
ever
talk.
think
Let's
about
talk
that?
about that. All right. Talk to me.
So if he's dragging,
yeah.
his trolling motor's up current, right?
Yep.
If you're coming down current and you're in the back of the boat, so keep your bait. Don't have as much of angle in your dangle.
Less angle in the dangle. Good to know. Go with a heavier weight. That's what I took from that.
Yeah, heavier weight. You're gonna be fishing. I mean, it's August on the St. Lawrence. You're gonna be deep. I'd still go shallow, but that's just me because I'm
Well,
weird.
day one, I draw somebody that goes shallow. So how am I going out there?
I'd be throwing a jerk bait. I'd be throwing a spy bait. I'd be throwing jerk bait and spy bait, and I'd have a drop shot ready, and I'd be watching my boater to see if he pulls one up, and I'd just like casually kind of flip my drop shot over there and be like, oh, I think I saw one over there, but he's actually over here. That's what I'd be doing. And I'd be looking under the boat a lot. You know, smallmouth, they love to come to the boat. They suck under the boat. I don't care if you're in 8 feet of water or 30 feet of water.
Yeah.
They like the boat. And some days they don't like the boat. So that means nothing, but they do like the boat. They like the shade of the boat. But sometimes they don't like the shade of the boat. It was weird. They didn't like the shade of the boat deep on the St. Lawrence a few weeks ago, but they typically do. So
yeah.
And don't forget to throw the tube.
Yeah.
On the St. Lawrence. The tube is still the number one bait for smallmouth anywhere.
What?
Yeah.
Come
Yeah.
on.
I've won more money on this color tube in this weight, 1/4 ounce provider tube head from Ferguson, and this green pumpkin purple gold. It's juice. It's the money.
Nobody throws that anymore, Scott. It's all Ned rig and drop shot. The tube is history, man.
The tube's always gets in my rotation, always catch fish on it, always weighing fish on it, and kind of together, like we've caught some giant fish on the tube, especially in the fall and year round. They still bite the tube. I don't care what anyone says.
Do you have to have current for the tube, or will you throw that on a lake situation where there's not current?
No, you could definitely throw it on a lake. They still eat it, and people don't throw it anymore, so it makes it even better.
Yes.
So the tube is phenomenal. The Ned is great. You can, the Ned is great. You can do everything you can do with the Ned, with the tube. I don't like, when I throw a Ned for 2 reasons. I like, it falls, I'll throw a heavier head, like that's like a 3/16. I want it because it gets down fast, right? Deeper, boom, gets down there. And I'll let it do its thing down there. The other reason why you throw a Ned is because you want to do what the Ned does. You want it on a light head, and you want it, what you think goes on down there is like, well, I have this image in our head, it goes down and it floats up and it does this. Well, I think it does that. But that's when, you throw it light, the Ned. When the Ned really works, finesse is when it's down there and it's super light and it's dancing. But I like to throw a Ned with a little heavier bait, because if I'm active target, my fish, it's either a drop shot. In that situation, it's a drop shot or a Ned, and I want my Ned to get down there quick. So boom, shaboom, down.
Boom, shaboom.
Are you dragging the tube, or are you casting it? Are you doing the old drag?
I don't drag. I'm a caster, and I want my tube on clean bottom. I don't want it getting bogged down in sand grass or anything like that, because I'm super particular. I get so frustrated if I get any blade of anything on my bait, because you will not get a bite. You will not get a bite.
So you're casting to like spots with the tube. You're not sweeping it or dragging it.
Sometimes I'll crack it, Okay. But for the most part, I'm casting. But I'm casting, and I want it around clean areas. I don't want to get it bogged down in any vegetation. That's me.
What about the big argument on the tube is the strike to catch ratio? You will lose fish on a tube versus a Ned rig.
My son will tell you that you lose every fish on a Ned rig versus the tube. He's like, oh, the Ned rig, you can't land them on that. I don't have a problem with either one. I use Art Ferguson. He's a buddy of mine. He makes Provider Tackle. He has a Ned hook. I don't think it's on Tackle Warehouse yet, but he sells it on his website. And it's an owner hook, and it's got like that little kind of tail kind of comes down, on the tip, and it's stout. It's stiff. I've broke the old Ned, that thin wire one. I've busted that a lot. And the same thing on my tube. It's the same hook. It's a stout hook. It's a smaller hook. It's like a 2-aught and a 3-aught. And I don't have any problem losing fish. The only problem when you lose fish with smallmouth is they clamp down on it and you never get a hook into them. They just open their mouth, and that's how you lose fish. You don't ever have those. They're never hooked. It's the same thing, even on a drop shot. You're like, why did I lose them? You never had them hooked. He clamped down on it. You moved them 30, 40 feet, and he like decides to jump. And you're like,
Love that. Love that. That's my favorite part of smallmouth fishing.
The not hooking them part. They're notorious for that, especially the big ones. I think their jaws is so strong. So what we say sometimes when they're doing it, we're like, I'm just going to let him eat it right down to his crunchers.
And
then you get them hooked way in the back because it's going to come so far and it's going to catch something.
Scott, you speak the truth. I love it.
All right, so hold on. I got day 2 now.
Right at it.
Pete.
Yes.
Day 2, I got paired up. Somebody who's going out deep. He's going. He's out in 30 to 40.
30 to 40 feet.
Yeah.
Drop on him.
How about if he's
best you can?
How about if he's drifting?
Same thing. Put your bait in front of him, because if he's drift casting out there, he's dry, and just look around. I mean, you're not fishing against your co. You're fishing against the other co. So it's not about, oh my God, I got to cast in front of my pro and I got to catch his fish. It's about, no, you're there as a gift. Yes, you pay, but you got plenty of water to fish. So look for something else. Like maybe if he's dragging over here, maybe get your drag, 5 feet further up on the break or 10 feet in a different zone, or look for something different, or be that guy that bombs as far as you can and tries to cast to another time zone and catch him that way. But watch his program, pick up on his program, try not to get in his way. And if you do that and you make your boater comfortable, it's going to make your day that much more comfortable, because he's going to loosen up a little bit. He's going to catch his fish, and he's going to open up and let you catch your fish. There's nothing worse than having the aggressive co-angler that's casting over yourself. And then, I had it in a Toyota years ago, or a Costa, had a super aggressive co-angler, and I'm like, I'm leaving this area. So I ran out of the lake, and I ran back into the river, and I got him stuff that I didn't have to worry about him. So
took him up a creek.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I took him up in I went back to the river, and I got on stuff that I could fish, because he was too aggressive. He was messing up my day. He's like bombing, a 3/4 ounce tube over my head. And I'm like, he can do that. It's his right, and wasn't anything wrong with it. It's just how we fish. Well, now how I'm going to fish is I'm going to go and I'm going to catch my fish, and I'm going to have to go back to a river, and I'm going to get on a spot. And I'm going to sit way back. You're not going to be able to cast to it. I am. And then that's how the day went. So it was actually a disadvantage for him to be that aggressive, because it didn't help him out. And that's typically how it goes for most people that have an aggressive co-angler. So don't be that aggressive guy that impedes on your angler. Be that guy that helps your angler. Hey, I'm here to help you. I'm here to work with you.
I'll tell him jokes and net his fish, the whole deal. That's right.
Fill the cooler full of Founders. You're the man.
Yeah. Fill his cooler after with Founders.
After every fish, you mean. Salute.
I love it. Riz, we got some IMs for Scott?
Yeah, we do. Mr. Higgs here is going to be the next question we're going to go to. He's going to win himself a Gills Gear gift card, $25. And the question is, do you find, Scott, that the bigger smallmouth tend to be sitting on the bottom or suspended?
That's for me. I don't ever see them suspending way up in the water column. Sometimes, like a little bit later in the fall when they get on bait, they'll be a little bit more roamy and they'll come up, and if the bait's higher in the water column, but I always see them within 3 feet off the bottom. That's me. That's how I see them. When I see them on my active target and when I see them buoy, I don't often see fish suspending. Very, very rare on the Great Lakes.
Interesting. And then I guess, well, you don't see them there. So, you don't ever try to fish for them because they're on the bottom oriented fish.
Yeah. So, smallmouth, they want to be close to the bottom. They're relatively close to the bottom, within 2 or 3 feet. And there's days they always look down, and you're not going to catch them on your rip baits and your spy baits and your spinner baits. And there's days that all they want to do is look up, and some days they want to look up really high. So some days you don't want to get your bait down too far. Sometimes it's like a DT10 or a little Norman, you're burning it, and they'll come up, it goes down 7, 8, 9, 10 feet. And they want to come up high and charge a bait. Champlain, 15, 16 feet of water in those deep grass lines. They'll come up and bomb a spook like nobody's business. Like what are these fish doing? They're psychotic, And that, it's just a lot of fun.
Scott, will topwater play next week on the St. Lawrence?
I have never caught a fish on the topwater on the St. Lawrence, nor have I ever thrown a topwater bait on the St. Lawrence. So if it's cloudy and rainy and you're in 10 feet of water or less, yeah, you could definitely always catch them on top water.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
All right, I got the $1 million question here from Rick. It's actually a.
If I get it right, do I get it? Do we get $1 million or only?
Yeah, well, he's going to get a $25 TH Marine gift card, but it is $1 million question if you ask me. Rick wants to know, what is the best way to keep a smallmouth hooked up when they go for the jumps?
Reef them down as hard as you can and bury that rod tip as far down in the water as you can and crank like the dickens. Bury them. Bury that rod tip down and get down and ram them down and reel as hard as you can. And, like jerk baits and like when I'm throwing power fishing, spinner baits, I like to get away with the highest pound test I can where I can still get action on the bait. So on my rip baits, I'm throwing 14-pound sunline. I'll go down to 12 if I'm getting into the deeper divers, but it's 12 or 15 always.
14. Wow. Just like Hank Cherry.
Yeah. What?
How about?
I got them on a rip. I don't want to lose them. I want to crank on them. I want to get them where I can manage them. Then I'll let them do their thing. If they want to bulldog and dive, I'll play around with them there a little bit. But if it's me netting them by myself, I got to do that. If it's me and I got a partner situation, I'm reefing them. I want them. I don't want them jumping. I want to reef them in as fast as I can. Stout hooks, big line, get them in. Now, if you're by yourself, it's a different game. If you're landing fish with your hand, totally different game. So it all changes. That changes everything.
How about
Riz,
spinning rod?
It sounds like you reefing them in.
How about when you're drop shotting?
How do I not lose them?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you lose them on a drop shot. It baffles me, but you do. I use braid to fluoro. I don't set the hook. It's a big common mistake with a lot of smallmouth anglers. I feel the bite. I hesitate for a second, and I lean and reel, just like I would be like setting the hook, punching on a mat. I don't drop the rod. I don't raise. I just reel into them and set the hook. So not setting the hook. I just would say I'm just reeling into them. I'm not exactly trying to set the hook because you don't want to drop that rod tip, have that weight fall, and that the hook falls out of his mouth and that fish is gone.
Jacob Wheeler, I watched him fish at the last, MLF and with a drop shot. I never seen anybody crank on him and hit him as hard as he does on a drop shot. That's just the most amazing thing, Scott. Like, it seems like he's using 15-pound test, and we're all.
He might be, and they're spawning, so you can get away with that. So he might have been using straight braid. I don't know. I didn't watch a lot of that, but I watched a little bit. But when they're spawning and they're dumb and they're spawning, yeah, I'm gonna right there. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna use the highest pound test I can, and I don't want to worry about breaking line and get away with what you can. So if I'm on a big school of fish or active, I'm gonna go 10, 12. Like my team partner, Kyle Green, phenomenal smallmouth fisherman, incredible. We both learn a ton from one another. He's the tube master. I'm the jerkbait master. It's a good combination, but he fishes like 14 pound. He was like, oh, 14 today. He's like, oh, I have to finesse him 12 pounds. So he's putting like 12 pound fluoroleader on a spinning rod, and he's still catching them. So he's like,
yeah,
dude, it's fluorocarbon, right? They can't see it in the water. I'm like, well, it's the action, and your bait's not doing it. I want to get him in the boat, Dauber. Let's not worry about eight pound tests. So, and I break off fish here and there, but it happens. But you don't break off on the 12.
What's your cadence on the jerkbait?
Fast as I can.
No pause, just rip.
Oh yeah, pause. Yeah. No, I'm pausing, and that's what changes. So the water temperature dictates how long I pause it. Obviously, if it's 45 degrees, it's early spring or late fall, I'll slow down. In early spring, I'll slow down, ripping it super hard, but I'm still ripping it hard, but I pause it longer. They'll chase it, but when you pause it long, it's it. So 45, 50 degrees, I might pause it 5 to 10 seconds. It might be 4 seconds, but in the post spawn through summer, half a second, 1 second, like not just enough to get them to eat it. If I feel like they're following it, or if I see them following it, they're chasing, but they're not eating it. Pause it, then I'll crack it super hard, and then they eat it.
Gotcha.
Super hard. I mean,
hard
as they can. Like my forearms blow out. Like I went from St. Lawrence, Champlain, from throwing a spook to the St. Lawrence throwing a jerkbait. I was dead. I was like for like a week. Yeah.
What's your rod? Are you like a 6'10", 6'6" rod for your jerkbaits? Longer rod? What are you using?
If I'm casting and a little bit more specific stuff, or I'm casting to certain things, it's a 6'8". If I'm bombing flats, it's a 7-footer, and so I can get a little bit more distance, and I might be jerking to the side, with a 7-foot rod. The 6'8", I can get more down vertical, or kind of more down, towards the deck of the boat. And it's a crankbait rod. It's got parabolic, medium for like the 100s, and a little bit stiffer for the deeper divers.
Gotcha. Well, I do the same thing. I use a 7-footer because it helps when you're trying to catch up. You can sweep that line, especially when you're dealing with smallmouth. But we had Gussie on, and he's showed us the hair jig. I
can't catch any fish thing. Not me.
You haven't?
Yeah, I catch a couple, here and there, but I don't I'm gonna wind this hair jig in, like Ron Nelson's like, oh, I'm catching him on the hair jig. I'm like, so I throw it out. I'm like, oh, one chases up my jerkbait. Throw a drop shot. He might eat it, he might not. 50-50. It's like, oh, they always eat the hair jig. So I throw a hair jig on these dang fish, and none of them eat it.
Wow.
Like I had like one little 2-pound ratty, and I'm like, oh, where'd he come from? That wasn't the fish I was trying to catch. He came out of nowhere. But I've caught fish on it. I don't have the success on it like a lot of guys do. I'd rather throw a drop shot. I'd throw like a Berkeley gulp. I like throwing Berkeley gulp on fish. I like throwing Maxent. I like throwing the Z2 stuff. I like stuff that floats. I like a lot of scent. I like gulp. I like Maxent. It just depends, on what they're eating. So I like throwing the TRD Ned bait on a drop shot a lot. It floats. It's small. It's compact. They eat it. You can catch a zillion fish on it. And I throw like the streakies, and I throw the Z2, the baby Zs, and the big Zs. I like all that floating stuff because you catch a lot of fish on it, and it floats, and floats important on drop shot, and it's great stuff. It lasts forever, and apparently it doesn't matter on scent because you can catch them scentless with floating baits. But if it's you want that, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I don't. So is set important? I guess it is because it works.
Yeah.
You know, the Z products, elastic stuff, whether it's the Strike King or the TRD stuff, it works amazingly well too.
Gotcha.
I put a little garlic in mine on my elastic stuff, so it doesn't stick together in the bag, not for a set, you know. So you open up my soft plastic stuff, it smells like Olive Garden, you know. It's like, oof.
You put the garlic in there to keep Travis Manson away?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's understandable. I've been known.
You know, he sleeps upside down, you know.
Yeah, he hangs upside down in a closet in his hotel room.
Oh, geez.
Travis Manson.
Yeah, he's a good guy, but I was on his show. He has a good show.
Yeah, well, still
But
sleeps
he's
upside
not the
down,
dean.
Scott.
He's not the dean, though.
No.
Travis is awesome.
Just keep, yes, keep the garlic around you, folks. Great guy. Keep garlic around you. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Do
Tools
we,
for a longer life. Protect your neck.
Do we have to go into Canada to win this tournament when we're up there at the Open at Thousand Islands, Scott?
Sure, why not?
We're allowed to go now. I mean,
Yeah.
do we need to go over
I
there?
mean, I like fishing in Canada. I like fishing in America. I mean, obviously the tournament got won on U.S. waters only when we were there because that's how where you could go. But you know, the Canada guys are fishing over there. They had the Thousand Islands Open, and you know, there's a lot more flats on the Canadian side on the St. Lawrence River, and it just seems like there's more flats over there, and there's better deep water. I don't know. I always catch bigger fish in Canada, but they're obviously in the U.S. water too. Bass don't know borders, right?
Or do they?
True.
A lot less
True
pressure over there.
Yep.
Yeah, bass without borders, and they get a lot of pressure over there.
Yeah, they got half the
Maybe not as
season.
much as you inside. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they closed half the season, half the year.
Yeah, half the year. But they opened up a catch and release on St. Clair for smallmouth. We haven't been able to utilize it yet because it started this year, but they have a catch and release on the Canadian side now,
Nice.
supposedly from what I heard. So yeah.
That's cool.
Well, I'm looking forward to getting over there and fishing. I haven't been up there for about 20 years. I'm really psyched. I'm looking forward to getting your feedback, BTC, and how you guys do up there this week. I'm going to be hanging out at Cape Vincent. Hey, you know what we're going to do? I wanted to ask you this, Scott. I'm going up with my AquaView. I'm taking my boy and his best buddy. We're going to go out and look around. And have you done any of that on St. Clair or any of the Great Lakes?
I have, yeah. I've dropped cameras a lot, and I looked at a lot of fish, and I got away from doing it. It just consumes too much time, and I don't do it as a rule. I do have the products to do it, but I just don't take it out. I don't do it because, like I said, I don't do a lot of fishing in that depth. My cameras, yeah. I want to look at them. And that doesn't always work out. So there's times on St. Clair, and when August comes around, I don't do well as a rule, but I know I got to go deep, and I go deep, and I spend my time deep. But you can always go into the river and catch them shallow. So you can go to the Detroit River, you can go to St. Clair River, the St. Lawrence River, and you can catch them relatively shallow. But there are times, obviously, where they're not shallow. But they're always shallow. They might not be feeding shallow, or the big ones might not be shallow, but there's always fish shallow. I think you can survive any tournament on the St. Lawrence River shallow.
Right. I love shallow fishing. It's power fishing for me. I love it. I haven't fished Thousand Islands. Last time I fished it, they didn't have gobies in it. So
like they hadn't invented gobies yet?
No.
Jeez,
no.
Pete. Noah hadn't put them in his ark and brought them over here when Pete was fished that event.
Yeah. The written word had just started to collect momentum. So and then the gobies came. So I haven't been there for a long time. Yeah. But
PG, pre-goby.
Pre-goby Pete.
Pre-goby Pete.
Pre-goby Pete.
Post-frontal pre-goby Pete.
I love
post-frontal pre-goby Pete.
Pre-goby Pete.
Yes.
Oh, my.
Pre-goby. It's crazy.
Speaking of something pre, I want that pre-Rapala wart back.
Oh.
Speaking of pre-Pete.
Oh, Pete, you hold one on
What'd
him?
you do, Pete?
He bought it. He bought it fair. He did actually. We gifted it to each other.
Yeah.
I gifted it to him, and he re-gifted me a bottle of Crown.
Right. This is great story. Like we were on Champlain. It was one of the FLW events, and I was doing really good. Scott and I were rooming together, and I was catching them on a wiggle wart. I was cranking them, and Scott gave me went in his wiggle wart collection and hooked me up with a great bait that I went out and caught a 615 in the event on Lake Champlain. And that was amazing, man. I always appreciated you, sharing that with me. That was the big fish for the tournament. It saved that day for me because, I mean, I caught all my fish with that bait. And that was huge. Started me on a love affair with the wiggle wart, which continues to this day.
Yeah, and that same bait, not that bait, but I have one more of that bait in that color. And pre-Rapala, and I caught my PB on Burt Lake. It was a 7.6, cranking smallmouth. I was like, wow. So yeah,
it's killer.
Bait. Still, yeah, great bait. Yeah, great bait. Phenomenal for largemouth, smallmouth, spots. Incredible.
It was awesome, and I'm using the Rapala wiggle warts, right? The storm.
Yeah, that works. Yeah, that's fine.
I'm crushing them on it, and my producer is like the only way he knows how to fish now. I showed him how to bang a wiggle wart off the riprap, and it's pretty awesome stuff. He's catching them now. He's caught his PB on it too at this point, and here's something else coming out. I don't even know if I'm supposed to say it, but I'm saying it.
Say it.
They've got a deep diving version. That's come. That I don't know if it's out. They may have announced it at ICAST, but I don't know. I wasn't there this year. The first time in a million years.
14-footer, like that 9 to 14.
Yeah, it's gonna go. Well, the wiggle water go down 8, maybe 10. It's gonna be. I would guess 2 to 4 feet deeper than that. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. We got to get that, those clear translucent colors like that. I don't even know what they're called. Like phantom green, phantom brown. I love those colors. That's, for clear water stuff, that's my jam.
Yep. I remember that day too. It blew, like 80 miles an hour out of the south that day when I was cranking that wart and crushing them.
When does it not blow that hard on St. Clair or Lake Champlain for that matter? Yeah, it always blows there.
It was crazy, man. It's so hard jamming literally 30 mile an hour straight blow with gusts. And it was pretty cool catching them cranking. Love that stuff. So you're going to go win this tournament on Lake St. Clair. You're going to win the MLF. We're all going to be rooting for you. I'm super excited to watch this thing.
Yeah, I am too. And I'll be super excited to compete in that format. I mean, obviously those guys are hammers and they catch fish everywhere. I'm going to do my best. It's not going to be for a lack of effort. And all I want is to have a competition to have a shot to fish for the win. And that's all you can ask for. You want to go through the cuts, advance and get a shot at the championship round. You got 10 people on Lake St. Clair River, and Detroit River, and part of Lake Erie. I mean, what an opportunity. And it's going to be middle of the week, like on a Wednesday. It's going to be stupid.
Awesome. Is anybody going to do good going to Lake Erie in this tournament?
Yeah, that tournament can be won anywhere. It could be won on the Michigan waters of Lake Erie, the Michigan waters of the Detroit River. It could be won on Lake St. Clair. It could be won in the St. Clair River. It could be won anywhere.
Awesome.
Anywhere. That's what's scary. So yeah. So I'm looking forward to it 100%.
You're going to be in St. Clair though, aren't you?
I'm going to be wherever I can catch the most amount of fish. When that could be anywhere on that system. And I'm going to try to get a little sampling of some high percentage areas where I think they'll, so.
You're right, right.
They're going to be wherever the bait's going to be. And where the bait's going to be is where the numbers are going to be. That's what I want to look for.
Well, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you hanging out with us, taking some time. We went long. And,
we did go long, but it's good. That must have been, people might have been watching maybe.
Man.
Everybody's
outstanding. Outstanding content.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey.
you're so simplistic and matter of fact about the way you do it. I love that about your style and your strategy. So it's awesome to hear. I think people appreciate it. And
for Scott,
and
for
I
future
want to wish you
shows.
best luck.
I'm sorry, Pete. We keep stepping on.
Go ahead. What do you got, BTC?
Well, I just want to let Scott know just a little pro tip for future shows. Pete keeps a milk jug with the top cut off under the desk there for long, so you don't have to get up and hit the bathroom.
Yeah, I'm like, man, I gotta go to the bathroom. I'm like, holy moly! I'm like sitting here. I told my girlfriend, I go, if you're like, come on up. I think we're gonna be done. We'll go eat. And I'm like, oh. Then I'm like, so I texted you. I'm like, I gotta go to the bathroom. I'm like, my bladder's not as good as it once was. Like
you said, man, just keep the milk jug there and just let it roll.
Yeah. Hey. Another thing I can't do at 48 is I have to put readers on. Either put readers on or I have to drop my sunglasses down and tie a knot. Yeah, I'm like.
Yeah, I was going to call you out on that braid split ring thing. I know what it's about. You can't see no more. Yeah, that's why I'm not tying them.
Yeah, I'll look at it. So yeah.
Yeah, I can't.
Yeah, it was great being on. I appreciate it. It's an honor to come on the show. You guys put out a great format, and Pete, it's always good to catch up with you. I know we talk times a year like we always do, but this is a lot of fun.
Hey, man, it was great having you. Really, really great guest.
For sure.
Really amazing information. Honestly, eye-opening to a lot of guys, I'm sure. We're gonna let you go pee.
Hey, I appreciate it. Catch that Bass Pro Tour event on St. Clair, and it should be great. You can catch it on MajorLeagueFishing.com or MLF Now, and everyone out there watching, Trick Stop has been a big supporter of mine for like the last 3 years. They put out a great product. The trailer assists off the winch post, the boarding ladder, get on your boat. And they have a new product called the Trick Mount, which is a dual mount graph for the front of your boat. Solid product, great people, great company. And, I'm running the Phoenix this year, running the Mercury. The other sponsors out there, Sunline, Daiwa, Sims, all great supporters of mine, and I appreciate it.
Man,
I'm picking up Founders.
Yes, you got to pick up Founders, bud.
Yeah.
We got somebody that might be able to help you with that.
Thanks, bro.
All right, yeah.
Have a great
take
night,
care,
Scott.
guys. Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Thanks
you.
again, buddy. Good luck.
All right, bye-bye.
We'll see you.
All right, see you.
Great
Bye.
Scott Dobson.
That was awesome.
Smallmouth master, amazing information. I think it's eye-opening for a lot of people that how aggressive, like so many people think about smallmouth begging for bites, 4-pound test, just, hoping and poking, maybe you'll get a bite, and Scott just comes out with guns blazing, crushing them, banging them up in the shallow water. Love that style.
I'm noticing something, Pete, about these smallmouth specialist type guys. Scott talked about tonight where, if he has the ability to beef up his tackle and just absolutely manhandle those fish, he does it. And you know what? I've noticed that over the last couple of years watching the Johnston brothers fish on the elites. When Corey Johnston sets the hook on a smallmouth up there on the St. Lawrence River, he plays that thing for less than a minute with a big 7.6 rod, cranks it in, winds it in, gets it to the side of the boat. It's still hot. He gets his hands on it, and he gets it in his lap so quickly. And the way Scott was describing how he handles a lot of these fish and his aggressive hook sets and, upsizing his hooks in certain situations to where he just doesn't allow those fish to play him. I'm seeing that more. And, like you said, so many people think of smallmouth, ultra finesse, light line, super, super light rods and all that. It might not be the case, man. If you're around biting fish, it seems like you can beef things up and still get the bites and get them in the boat a lot more effectively. So,
I saw Jacob Wheeler do the same. Yeah, I saw Jacob Wheeler do the same thing. It was so obvious on the MLF as he bullied these fish to the boat, and I like that style too. I mean, I'd rather and we talked about this on my Cayuga tournament. Like I was using pretty heavy line because I can get them in and get them through the habitat, and I'll forego the bites that I might miss because of line sensitivity. Because when I get a bite, dude, I'm 90% going to get them into the boat or better. So it's it's pretty cool. Pretty cool to see them fish that way. And I noticed it with a lot of guys like the Johnson Bros, just like you said. So many interesting things, like talking about the spy bait. And he's a jerk bait like phenom, like not only using it to catch the fish, but identify them and bring them to the boat where he can now get them with a tube, a drop shot, or a Ned, just getting them to show themselves.
Yep. Being
Amazing
ready.
stuff.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, that was key to, always just be ready for that chase bait with a spy bait, jerk bait. So I agree.
Yep. And you got to be ready for that too, BTC. When I'm telling you right now, when a fish comes to the boat, there is more with it, and they most often will get under the boat when that happens.
Yep.
You just need to be prepared for that in your derby, and a lot of great tips for the co-angler stuff too, man. I appreciated his honesty and straightforward, the way he handled that stuff. It's pretty cool. It's going to be a fun tournament for you guys. I know we got a trivia question. Do we want to are you guys prepared to ask our trivia question right now?
Sure are. Let's
think of one.
Yeah, no, we let's think of one.
Let's make one up.
No, we got one. And guys, so this trivia question here that we're gonna do now is for the grand prize. That's gonna be $100 worth of tackle from the awesome sponsors that support the show. But guys, remember, over there on Facebook, there's also a Facebook like and share going on, and you're gonna be able to win a prize in that too. So if you haven't liked and shared tonight's feed, now's a great time to do it. Go ahead and like and share. Get yourself entered for a chance to win. But tonight's grand prize trivia question is going to be a question from the show. And that question is, what is the name of the discontinued hook that Scott prefers to use? That's a treble hook. What is the name
that Scott should have never mentioned on the show
of the
tonight?
discontinued hook that Scott uses? We need to get that specific answer. It's a specific question. We need a specific answer. What's the discontinued hook that Scott likes? Guys on the message board, have at it. That's going to be our grand prize trivia question.
$1 million.
Yeah.
$1 million question.
One thing I loved about his fishing is he uses a snap for the same reason I do, just to be able to change and be efficient and all that other stuff. One thing I hated about his fishing is the round bend treble.
Yeah.
I'm so brainwashed on that inward facing treble hook and its ability to catch and hold the fish. But he has a different whole system, man. He gets a bite, he cracks them, he sets them like like you're flipping a jig.
Like
It's
Shaquille taking it to the hole.
just like
Gluzak
that.
with the two-hand jam down the middle.
Eric Gluzak.
Is that pre-Gobi Gluzak?
Yeah.
That's definitely pre-Gobi.
Pre-Gobi, pre-Kobe. R.I.P.
That's too funny. Pre-Gobi. And it's weird, like the techniques that he uses where he just straight reels, like when he's punching. What was the other one he's straight reeling on? You guys remember that? That's another trivia question. Was it the tube or I guess it was the drop shot. Where he just straight reels without any hook set.
Yeah, without a hook set. Yeah, drop shot. Yep.
But the jerk bait and the spy bait, he's cracking them. It's like opposite day.
Yeah, well, like I said before, in 2012, the Large Hadron Collider hit max capacity. We discovered the Bose-Hadron particle and the God particle, and everything's upside down. So here we are.
Ooh, we have a winner on the message board.
Man, you guys are quick. I'm impressed. You guys are quick.
Chuck Fish. Congratulations, Chuck Fish. That answer is the Gamakatsu Superline EWG Bronze. The bronze was the tough part of that question that we were looking for.
EWG?
Yep, Gamakatsu Superline EWG Bronze is the correct answer.
Look, Pete's writing it down because he wants to get them.
That's right.
Yeah. I want to get that discontinued deep diving jerkbait that he, won Thousand Islands on. That's the one I want.
Yeah.
And I was really intrigued by what he talked about fishing in the clouds. And I want to give a shout out to E. Suarez, who I fished with on Saturday. He's now a subscriber to Bass University TV. Welcome to the party. And it was great fishing with you. Really good time, and enjoyed catching all those fish. Appreciate you bringing the live bait. It really made my day. I haven't fished that way for so long. It was just so much fun. What a great event.
And yeah, okay, I got you with the live bait out there in DOD.
Dude, there was no better technique than drop shotting earthworms.
Can you believe that?
It's I'm reaching out to BASS to see how that fits into the rules. I mean, if gulp can be used, if max send can be used, why can't I use earthworms?
Right. Rules are for followers, folks.
Drop shot a goby, that might work too.
Probably work pretty well.
Yeah, we're gonna see how it all plays out.
Yeah, man.
But BTC, we're gonna be rooting for you and Ike this upcoming week, man. And it's very exciting.
Yeah, it's all about how you got a 4-day event. You're just trying to manage your fish. You find a school of fish, you want to manage your fish. For me, it's about managing my health and energy with 4 days of practicing with Ike.
Oh my gosh.
He's done it to me before. The man doesn't eat.
You find him. This is what you do. You find a McDonald's and you buy about 25 sausage McMuffins on day one.
Yeah, I don't.
And you just leave them in the center console and you just work away at them when you need to. Get a couple gallons of water. And you're straight.
Yeah, I'm too old for that kind of behavior, dude. That'll put me in the hospital.
A little bit of spit, good to go.
You need to bring like a pillow.
Don't say them words to me. I'm sorry.
You need to when Mike gets on a long flat around like in the early afternoon, you just lay a pillow up on the floor and just take a siesta.
Yeah. Yeah. How long do you think before we're doing 90? He don't sit nowhere for a minute. It's great. He's like, all right, we're leaving. He's got the trolling motor out, rod down, life jacket on, boat started. He's on pad, and I'm still trying to get from the back deck to sit down on my seat. God, man. Hopefully he slowed down. I'm thinking he might have a little bit.
I don't know.
I was with him last year practicing for the Potomac, and now I don't think
slowed down.
There was much slow. I was managing to close one eye and actually get some sleep, like going from spot to spot on the Potomac, going 80. So
yeah,
that was the day. So that was after the last summer's BFL. We had an Ike Live the day after the BFL, and then we had a Bash U the next day, and then the next day I woke up and drove to the Potomac with him the next morning. So it was a ripper, and we survived on McDonald's.
Yeah. Well, at the United tournament, the Bash U house, I mean, it's incredible. Like, he was the first one out, just a little bit in front of everybody
in the morning,
and in the morning, and always the last one out. I mean, the one day he came back so late that you were just like, dude, you must you can only fish 30 minutes past sunset. He had to have that on his watch and timed it because he was fishing right up to the wire. And, it's pitch black out by the time he comes back.
Right. And then you get off the water, and then you got to go get gas for the boat. And, and all half these places, there's no food, like actual food left. So you're eating, gas station sushi or something. That's pretty bad.
That's him, man. It's like he did it there. He's always going to do it, and that's his style.
I got plenty of snacks in the boat. The snacks was gone day one. His week's fucking rations were gone in an hour.
Really?
Yeah.
See, what I noticed about him is like he would pack his cooler full of tasty cakes. He'd always throw like crimpets in there and some other crap, and he would never ever go to it. His cooler would come back, and it's like he never never even touched it all day. You know,
True. I ate it all.
You're calling Travis a vampire? No. You know,
Yeah,
Mike's the
agree.
vampire.
No, Mike.
He's
Mike survives off of like angst and anger. That's what he feeds off. That's what runs the motor for him.
And he finds a way to be successful at it. And well, he's obviously one of the best that's ever done it. So
very well, and that's his key.
Yeah, it's like try to keep up with it. Good luck, BTC.
Thanks, man.
Advil, bring some.
Yep.
I don't know caffeine. You know, I don't know what else I can advise you. Some of that CBT. You need it all.
Yeah, that. I'll have some of that.
Might need the other 3 letters too. There you go.
I need all the letters. Send me your letters. Anthony Geis.
Rick,
send me your
we
letters.
got a Facebook like and share contest, guys. Now's your last chance. You haven't done it yet, like it and share it. If you haven't subscribed, get over to Bass U TV. Everybody's doing it. It's making you a better angler. We're bringing you guys like Scott Dobson that are just revolutionary thinkers, changing the way that we really think about fishing. It's all available at Bass U TV. We got Lee Livesey coming up with a lot of great releases and a lot of great new stuff all the time at Bass University. So get yourself subscribed, like and share us over on Facebook. And Riz, I'm going to let you tell me when we have a winner for our like and share contest.
Yep, we have one, Pete. Tonight's winner for the Facebook like and share is Will Thorne. Congratulations, Will Thorne from down there in Virginia. Congratulations, you won. Thanks for supporting the Bass University Live podcast.
Mm-hmm. Here's what I got to do, guys. I got to go for the Open. I'm trying to win the Open to make the Classic. That's my goal, obviously, up here at Thousand Islands. But if I don't make the cut, I fish 2 days of the Open, and then I travel from Clayton to Messina, where you guys are fishing, and I fish the BFL Super Tournament for those 2 days. So that's going to be my my week, the first week of September.
Are you getting practice on the St. Lawrence for that?
Well, I'm not gonna practice the Messina area at all. I'm gonna practice out of Clayton. I'm going up this week with my family a little bit. We're gonna, boat around a little bit. I don't know that we'll do much fishing because my guys don't fish.
Fish the event, Pete.
Well, because I'm
13th
I'm not
AOI and stuff.
Yeah, I'm not going to fish the event. We're going to be coming home on Wednesday or Thursday from there, but we're going to go check it out. We're going to hang out at Cape Vincent. I'll let you guys fish that event.
See what an Uber cost them. It's what?
Put them on a taxi.
8 hour Uber.
Yeah. Well, it's about 6.5 hours.
Dude,
so,
you're 13th, Pete. I know, buddy.
I've been 13th. I've been first. I've been 100th. What the hell's another 13th place finish?
I know, buddy.
Right. We'll let you guys roll out. I'm going to go down to Potomac maybe and try to make it into the championship on 2 derbs. But I am excited about the BFL Super Tournament. If I get to fish it, I'm super psyched to maybe take a shot at winning the points in the BFLs. A lot of fun. Really enjoyed it. Want to give a shout out to Steve at the BFLs. Who's running those derbs, and it's been great and a lot of fun. Hope to make it down to the Potomac and fish with those guys down there, make it to the All-American. That's the goal. Dave Mansu's trying to make it worldwide's gonna make it. We're all trying to make it to the All-American. Never fished the All-American.
Oh, right on, man.
Yeah. So that's I want to make it to the All-American and to the Classic this year. That's my goals for this year.
That's fantastic, dude.
Yeah, we'll see if we can do it. Everywhere I'm throwing is a 4-pounder right now, so I hope that keeps going.
What is it?
Everywhere I throw is a 4-pounder right now.
Yeah.
So it's like a gift. It's a weird space to be in. I've experienced it for short periods of time, but never for 4 tournaments in a row. It's been pretty awesome. Hope to keep it going.
Absolutely, bud. Hey, you got any tips for me with the Weighmaster at the Toyota event?
Yeah. Well,
actually, you were the only guy that I saw at that weigh-ins that he allowed to talk.
Well, that's I talked to him about that. man, Greg, start talking and they'll put the mic in front of you.
No, I don't
BTC,
want to talk.
You always, you got something to say, man. Talk about hummingbird. You got that beautiful hummingbird hat.
It is. It
Talk
feels
about
great
how you
too.
were how you were using your partner's hummingbird units to catch your fish that day.
Yeah,
That's right.
But here's the best tip, and I shouldn't give this tip out, but when I'm going through the weigh-ins, and it's my turn to go up and put my fish on the scales, I wait for them to holler at me to come up, like, because I want the guy in front of me to be completely off the scale, and I don't want to ever have to let my weigh-in bag drain. So I bring my weigh-in bag up with 100% moisture and put it on the scale. There you go.
There you go. That's Moisture Pete.
That's true. I learned that on the one of the first years I was fishing the flats, Pete. I started to pull my bag out of the tank early, and our good buddy Keith Cowan was behind me, and he basically grabbed my arm and put my bag back down in tub.
Yeah.
And he said, "Don't pull that bag out until it's completely sopping wet, and you have to pull it out." Because 2 weeks earlier, I came in third in a tournament and missed second place by 1/100th of an ounce.
Oh
and
man,
That was moisture.
Yes, that was the drop in the bag that, Pete, to keep your bag in the water for as long as you can. So
yeah. That's forget I said that.
It's the same way you get on an airplane.
What's that?
It's the same way you get on an airplane.
That's right.
You wait till they're like, last call, Pete Glut. Nope. Gets up out of his seat.
Yeah.
Walks on the plane last.
Yeah. Oh, did you say last call? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I must have missed that.
Dude, it's such a gangster move. I got to experience it. I lived it, and now I live by it. True story. No reason to sit in that stank airplane for 30 minutes idling on the tarmac. You know what I mean?
Graphing on the tarmac.
Ain't no reason. You walk in last, you sit down, and the plane takes off.
Yeah, everybody's scrambling for space, scrambling for seats, uncomfortable. They're like, this guy's getting in front of me. Oh my God. Just forget all that nonsense.
Nope. Last man on.
That's right. I'm last man on the scales, and I wish you best, BTC. Hopefully I'll get to talk to you when you guys are up there. I'm gonna drop you a line and see how you guys are doing.
Cool, man.
And it's going to be awesome. I look forward to going up north, taking my family up. They've never seen it. I'm so excited for Jake to see that crystal clear water, Shelly too, and all that. I haven't been up there for such a long time myself. It's going to be awesome.
Nah, it's awesome, dude. I look forward to you bringing all your Max scent up there and meeting you somewhere in the water for that.
Is Max scent available now? Have you tried? Is it still sold out?
Probably.
Yeah.
Little Bird told me you might be able to get the.
Might be some available out there. I got some. I'm saving it for the first week of September. Guys, we're going to be off next week because Riz has to go to a wedding.
Yeah, you dirty.
We're gonna miss next week's Bash You Live. We're all over the planet. Everybody's fishing tournaments.
No, we're gonna miss it because I'm not here, Pete. Give me my damn due.
Yep. Well, there you go.
I want
BTC,
a speech. I want a speech.
You are the only one that has been to every single Bash You Live.
Oh, let me go full camera.
Full camera on who? Pete?
Yeah. I want this to be right. Pete's going to give a speech right now to me. Hold on, Pete.
Okay. Are you ready?
Go ahead.
At this, I would like to take this opportunity to thank BTC for being there, for being the rock, for being the creative force behind Bash University Live, for being
God, I'm gonna cry.
the man that has always been there when I can't or Ike can't, and keeps driving and bringing this amazing content to the universe. BTC, thank you.
Round of applause, everybody.
Wow. Yeah.
YouTube, stand up.
Yeah.
Thanks, Pete.
So So you're going to go fish a tournament, so we can't have a show.
That's right. There it is. And Rich has a Tuesday wedding, so
Yep.
again,
Yeah.
none of this is real.
Thanks, Corvid.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, man.
Noel.
Well, we're going to roll out to a commercial block, and on the other side of that, there might be a little treat, but that's all I got, man. We'll be back in 2 weeks, and
we'll be back with 2 weeks, some more great Bass University content. In the meantime, look for some amazing Bass University content to be released on bassu.tv. Get over there and get yourself subscribed. Thank you, Riz. Amazing Gills gear with the Bass U logo. Love that shirt you're wearing tonight. And we're all in Gills gear tonight. BTC, thank you. Good luck at the tournament this week. Oh, wait a minute.
Uh-oh.
We forgot that. I'm not forgetting this tonight.
Stop the presses.
Ike, congratulations on winning the Hobie kayak event, your third Hobie kayak event, and it's your first win. It was an amazing win with a last minute catch. So amazing, done down on the Upper Chesapeake. Really thrilled for that. I got to talk to him a little bit about how that went down, how he caught that fish with 1 minute to go, managed to get it measured, photographed before the 2 p.m. cutoff.
He had
really
3 seconds left
story.
when the pick was received by the judges.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's just incredible win on a really, really tough Chesapeake right now. Great job. And congratulations on Jacob Wheeler for dominating again. Oh my gosh. Jacob just keeps winning and winning and winning. He's won again at the MLF, dominating the field at Lake Champlain. So it's just tremendous stuff. Congratulations to you guys. And thank you everybody for watching. And check us out at bassu.tv. That's Riz, BTC. I'm Pete Gluzek. We will see you in 2 weeks right here for Bass University Live. Good night, everybody.
Moment on the water not spent fishing is a moment wasted. That's why Minn Kota and Humminbird have joined forces to bring you the One Boat Network. Products that communicate and integrate to help you take full command of your boat. Born from our commitment to making the most advanced fishing gear even better by making it work together. The One Boat Network will help you find, get to, stay on, and catch more fish. When One Boat Network products talk to each other, they can navigate your boat automatically. They can give you a crystal clear view of what's below with no messy wires. And they can let you lower, raise, and change shallow water anchor modes from anywhere on the boat. But that's just the beginning. We're never done innovating, integrating, and making your boat simpler and easier to control. All so you can make every second on the water count.
Tackle Warehouse is proud to sponsor the FLW Pro Circuit and is the official tackle retailer of FLW, providing proven bass fishing gear as well as the newest and hottest tackle. Our friendly and knowledgeable customer service staff can help you every step of the way. And we offer free ground shipping on orders over $50. Tackle Warehouse. Everything for the bass angler at the lowest prices. Guaranteed.
I have to be constantly on the lookout for new techniques to stay on the top of my game.
Giant.
Some have been more successful than others.
Giant.
The finesse fingernail.
Happens every time.
The chain gang.
Broke it off.
The crow's nest.
Never let go.
And don't even get me started on tackle management, especially trying to stop rust and corrosion. Peanut butter.
Not good.
Motor oil.
Gotta keep the rust off all these baits.
WD-40.
Gotta keep the rust off.
Silica, toothpicks, Q-tips, the list goes on and on. I'm hard on tackle, I fish fast, I need my tackle organized and protected. I can't be worrying about losing baits to rust. And when it comes to tackle management, there's only one solution. Flambeau tackle storage systems with Z-Rust technology. The original anti-rust tackle box. Uncompromised clarity. Renowned durability. The infused anti-rust option that is FDA safe and free of harmful chemicals. The organization options are endless. but there's only one. One box, one anti-corrosion technology, one family-owned, American-made brand, Flambeau Z-Rust Tackle Solutions. Preserve, perform, repeat.
All right, guys. It's a long time in the coming. Rich, how many times?
Yeah, it's been a lot of shows here. We're finally doing the BTC and Riz takeover.
Hostile takeover. Pete's already in bed.
Yep.
But you know what? It's like every damn show we forget to thank Alex.
We forget.
But
you know what, Alex? You're doing a good job.
Alex, you're the man, dude. I ain't met him in person, but he's a hell of a kid, and he's a good dude. He's going to go places. Thank you, Alex. Again, you're awesome, bro. Alex is on the YouTube feed, reading the comments, and just a super fella. Never says anything when we continue to forget him for his contributions. Never give him a shout out. We thank people we don't even know. We forget to thank Alex. So, we do it. Got it, Rich? All right. Hang tight. We're going to do this, and then we'll be right back with Rich's big surprise.
Find what you are looking for. Catch more fish. Have more fun. AquaView. Seeing is believing.
Why do you love casting fishing rods?
I'm truly losing less fish.
Is the sensitivity of the rod.
That they're made right here in North Carolina in the USA. Strongest, lightest rod, 100% made here in Sanford, North Carolina.
From the drop shot rod to the flipping stick. Every rod has a purpose to it, and I rely on them all the time when I'm out doing a tournament.
Durability in the John Cruz Worming series, the counterbalancing in the handle.
It's the only rod I found that can withstand my hook set. Boom goes the dynamite.
We're different. Some would say obsessed. There's no place on earth we'd rather be than right here, right now. Performance-driven gear, so you can fish longer, harder. Gill's Performance Fishing.
2021 Red Crest champion Dustin Connell here, and if you watch live coverage, we just got done at Lake Fall.
Yeah. All right, man. We gave it our all. Good college try, Rich, but failed miserably in the attempt to find something that we were looking for. So, see you guys in 2 weeks. Thanks for hanging, man.
It's Mike Iaconelli. This is Bass U TV.
Here's what's awesome about Bass U TV.
You get the top instructors.
You will learn things at Bass U that you will learn nowhere else.
And we help you build confidence with new techniques.
We take the mystery and the myths out of bass fishing.
Real tools that help you catch more fish consistently.
At Bass U TV, shoes are optional.
And I like turtles.
We teach you to enjoy bass fishing.
And that's why you want to check out Bass U TV.
Join the Bass U family.
Welcome to Bass U TV.